This young man is currently joining his group for the rookie trial on the demon planet, and the trial itself sounds simple enough: just survive on the planet for 5 minutes. Completing that would automatically trigger a class change, but facing these beast-faced monsters, surviving even a single minute seems impossible. The whole story began 50 years ago when a massive celestial body known as the Demon Planet suddenly appeared near Earth, causing all local flora and fauna to suddenly mutate. After the planet appeared, they turned into monsters, known as beasts of God, and began wreaking havoc across the world. However, during this time of utter despair, survivors miraculously discovered many teleportation circles scattered across Earth, and the first group of people who braved the risk of entering the Demon Planet discovered that the planet seemed to be a hyper-realistic digital world where humanity could change into various classes. After changing classes, everyone possesses stats, equipment, and skills that can be upgraded while also gaining powerful attributes. And so a new concept was born: adventurers. This term refers to those who travel to the Demon Planet to seek power. As for the reality Jiang Kai is currently facing, it is, as mentioned, the first rookie trial for newly changed adventurers. He is now the only one left alive, and with an abyss ahead, Jiang Kai has nowhere left to run. Facing the beast-faced creature slowly approaching, Jiang Kai is completely lost, but he absolutely refuses to accept his fate. Is he really going to just give up and die after spending everything he had to get to the Demon Planet? No, he isn't having it. Instead of sitting here waiting for the monster to take his life, Jiang Kai decides to take a gamble to secure his only chance at survival, and so he makes a high-stakes decision. He jumps into the abyss. As he falls, Jiang Kai sees the beast-faced monster rush to the edge of the cliff, staring down at him, but it can't chase him any further. Suddenly, a screen appears before him, with a notification: due to behavior consistent with a gambler, congratulations. You have activated a 1 in a million chance to receive a hidden class. You have successfully changed classes. Congratulations, you have become a hidden class of glory known as the Gambler. Sometime later, Jiang Kai wakes up on the edge of a forest, coughing a few times as he struggles to sit up. But just then he notices something is not quite right. Although he fell from such a high cliff, he isn't injured at all. Even the wounds he sustained earlier from the beast-faced creature's weapon have completely healed. Suddenly, the system screen appears again, explaining that because he changed classes just in time, it triggered a reset of his base attributes equivalent to a full health recovery, which is why he is no longer injured. Before him, a beautiful girl with long, flowing white hair appears. Jiang Kai seems to recognize her. She is the AI that coexists with the Demon Planet. She doesn't deny it, then begins to introduce Jiang Kai to the class talent he just awakened. The gambler's talent is called Double Up. It allows any reward or penalty he receives to trigger a doubling effect with a 1% chance to trigger a super double effect. When this is triggered, the reward or penalty increases tenfold. Because Jiang Kai activated the Double Up talent while receiving it at the same time, he received 2 class talents, meaning he also gets the second talent of the gambler. Jiang Kai is stunned. Normal people only get 1 talent upon changing classes, but he managed to unlock 2. Is this a heavenly blessing? The second talent Jiang Kai received is called Super Critical Strike. Its effect is to modify his critical damage to 200 times the base with his critical hit rate set to 0.1%. Then Jiang Kai's information window, Kai's, opens up. Currently at level 1, he has 4 points in Strength, 8 in Constitution, 12 in Agility, 12 in Spirit, and 0 in Defense. Jiang Kai is shocked again. Normal people usually only have around 20 total attribute points after changing classes, but he has reached 30, Dapper 6. Because the Double Up talent can double the bonus points earned after changing classes, the AI girl explains. Jiang Kai's eyes light up. If that's the case, then from now on, every time he levels up on the Demon Planet, he will far surpass others. Normal people get 10 points per level while he gets 20. That means every level Jiang Kai gains is equivalent to others gaining 2. Furthermore, he has the Super Critical Strike talent. A normal person's critical strike only causes double damage, but his is 200 times. Although the critical rate is currently only 1%, if he can increase this rate later, his damage output will be terrifying. Overall, Jiang Kai is extremely satisfied with the class he just received. Taking that gamble to escape the beast-faced creature really paid off. Speaking of which, Jiang Kai remembers that when the monster threw its weapon at him, it fell into the abyss with him. Now it's stuck in this riverbed nearby. Before, he only thought about changing classes quickly on the demon planet to earn money for his older brother's kidney transplant, because on the demon planet, no matter how weak the class, it's easier to make money than on Earth. He never expected to accidentally become a powerful hidden class like the gambler. Perhaps he can quickly earn enough money for his brother's medical treatment and help his whole family live comfortably. Thinking this, he pulls the monster's spear out of the river. At the same time, Jiang Kai receives a new prompt. Now that the class change is successful, his next task is to complete the rookie mission, safe arrival at Holy Radiant City within 7 days. Completing the class change was only the first step. Next, finishing this rookie challenge is the biggest goal. Within 7 days, Jiang Kai must reach the final destination of the trial area, Holy Radiant City. But reaching it is fraught with difficulties. First, he must pass through a trial zone filled with monsters. If he is defeated by them, it counts as a failure and he will be teleported back to Earth. Although dying on the demon planet doesn't mean dying on Earth, and his body wouldn't even be injured, allowing him to log back in. Relogging comes at an unimaginable price, and only go easy on the rich anyway. It cost Jiang Kai most of his fortune just to teleport here. The rich have countless chances to try again, but for someone penniless like you have to get it right the first time with absolutely no room for error. That's why Jiang Kai was incredibly tense, gripping his weapon tightly as he stepped forward, and then, suddenly, he heard a scream. The owner of that voice sounded familiar. If Jiang Kai wasn't mistaken, he stepped a bit closer. He definitely wasn't wrong. It was him. The person screaming like crazy was his best friend of many years named Vian Tru. He was surrounded by green-scaled snakes, and Vian Tru's biggest fear was snakes. That reaction makes perfect sense. Jiang Kai didn't rush in immediately because the green-scaled snakes have highly potent venom. One bite and man or beast alike is done for. Plus, right now, there were 3 of them. After careful consideration, Jiang Kai waited for the right moment to strike. "Buddy, don't be afraid, I'm here," Jiang Kai shouted. Only then did Vian Tru turn back, shocked to find his best friend right here. "Kai, why are you here?" That was the only thing Vian Tru could think of at that moment. Even now, he still had the heart to tell Jiang Kai not to worry about him and to just run away because it was too dangerous. As Vian Tru cried his eyes out looking at Jiang Kai, he was blindsided by a green-scaled snake from behind. Luckily, Jiang Kai reacted quickly, instantly, throwing the spear in his hand right at it, striking the snake's head and pinning it tight into the tree trunk behind. That was a perfect one-shot kill. Vian Tru's eyes widened in disbelief. He couldn't have dreamt in a million years that his best friend could effortlessly take out a green-scaled snake like that. Actually, Jiang Kai had it all planned out. He used Vian Tru to draw the snake's attention, then circled around to their back to attack. This method was incredibly effective, proven by the fact that he took one down. But now he had become the target for the remaining 2. Ignoring the danger, Jiang Kai charged straight ahead. His goal was to retrieve his weapon. Vian Tru was so scared his heart felt like it was going to pop out. He thought this time it was really over because those snakes were so agile. But the agility of Jiang Kai wasn't too shabby either. Under Vian Tru's worried gaze, he successfully dodged the attacks from the 2 remaining venomous snakes. After changing his class, Jiang Kai's stats had doubled. His level 1 agility was now comparable to level 2, which is why the level 1 green-scaled snakes couldn't outspeed him. That's why he put on such an impressive performance just now. If that's the case, defeating them was probably just a matter of time. Thinking this, Jiang Kai said to Vian Tru, "Tru, keep drawing their attention." Vian Tru immediately followed his lead. By now, Jiang Kai had successfully retrieved his weapon, and the 2 of them started working together perfectly. In sync. Before long, all 3 green-scaled snakes were taken down. Even now, Vian Tru still felt like this wasn't real. He only took on the job of being a distraction while Jiang Kai easily finished them off. After neutralizing the threat, Jiang Kai breathed a sigh of relief. He clearly had an agility-focused class with low strength, yet he was still able to take down a level 1 monster instantly. It seems that the iron spear he picked up from the beast-faced man is a good piece of gear for boosting power in the beginner zone. Legend has it that newcomers can only be killed by monsters, but how could they possibly kill a monster?
How did you do that?
Kai Vientru suddenly closed in from behind and hugged Zhang Kai tightly. Because they were best friends, Zhang Kai didn't want to hide it, and told him about how he luckily unlocked the hidden gambler class, which is why his stats surpassed his level. "You must not tell anyone about this," Zhang Kai cautioned carefully. Vientru wore a goofy expression for a few seconds upon hearing the word gambler, but then quickly returned to his usual energetic self and bragged to his friend,
"Oh, though I don't know what that class is. My class isn't trash either, you know. His class
was a martial disciple, a strength-based class. At level 1, Vientru had 8 points in constitution, 8 points in strength, 5 in agility, and 5 in spirit. Zhang Kai and suddenly understood why Vientru was able to hold out for so long against 3 snakes. The martial disciple is one of the top 5 classes in the Holy Radiance Kingdom. How many classes exist on Ghost Planet? No one knows, but for every adventurer after arriving on this planet, the first thing they experience is their class advancement. As for what they advance into, it usually depends on which advancement materials you bought before logging in. Typically, people with money spend tens of millions to buy powerful advancement materials. Taking those to Ghost Planet allows them to directly become top-tier classes right away. For example, martial disciples like Vientru or soldiers or archers. Conversely, poor people can only afford the cheapest materials. These advancement paths are all very weak. Even the class you get is random. There's a high chance they'll unlock useless-sounding ones like a drunkard or beggar. After hearing that Vientru had become a martial disciple, Zhang Kai was both happy and a bit worried, so he asked, "But just one martial disciple material costs 50 million already. Buddy, you didn't take out a loan, did you?" "Heh, not at all. It's a long story. I'll tell you the details later," Vientru replied. Knowing his friend wasn't in debt, Zhang Kai felt relieved. He then told Vientru to hurry up and collect the loot, or from the 3 snakes, because he heard these things could also be sold for money. On Ghost Planet, many things can be exchanged for cash. Zhang Kai also wanted to use this method to earn money to support his family. Items earned on Ghost Planets, such as monster carcasses or gear, turn into cards after they drop. Adventurers collect them to sell. Furthermore, looking at the fight just now, his gambler class seemed even more powerful than a martial disciple, so Zhang Kai felt his money-making potential wasn't bad at all. They had just finished collecting the snake remains when suddenly a third person appeared. Yuanzhu instinctively thought another monster was attacking and ducked behind Zhang Kai, but surprisingly, the person who just arrived was merely a girl. She looked weak and harmless. Hello." She even stuttered seemingly from nervousness. I'm Su Nuanwan. I'm having a really hard time getting through this trial alone. Can I join your team, please?" Even though she looked harmless and pretty, Zhang Kai wasn't a sucker for a pretty face. He knew he was barely holding his own. Bringing a girl along would likely just be an extra burden. Zhang Kai was ready to refuse, but Su Nuanwan tried to convince him by revealing her class. "I'm a doctor. I don't have much offensive power, but I can heal team members. For example, if you run into venomous snakes like the green-scaled serpent, I can extract the venom and use it to boost your weapon's attack power. Please don't leave me behind." Su Nuanwan's eyes were already welling up with tears. Hearing this, Yuanzhu, his eyes lit up with pure admiration. Facing a girl who could both heal and poison, that was definitely something worth admiring. Zhang Kai thought it over carefully. A doctor is one of the top 10 high-level classes. In the rookie trial, healing is absolutely essential. For example, earlier when he fell off the cliff, if he hadn't managed to change classes in time to recover, he would have been dead for sure. So in the end, Zhang Kai agreed to let Su Nuanwan join the team. He introduced himself and Yuanzhu briefly. Once she found a safe haven, Nuanwan looked so moved. She kept saying thank you. "Hey, buddy, you only changed your mind because you're a simp, right?" Yuanzhu whispered into Zhang Kai's ear. He knew this jerk was just teasing him, but he really wanted to beat him up. Meanwhile, at Ghost Planet Base number 18, located in the Zhangzhong Sacred Nation, in the data research lab, Professor Li was using a smartwatch to pinpoint the exact locations of the explorers on the Ghost Planet with excitement. It said that most watches sold on the market now can do more than just scan comet data. They have tons of extra features. The higher end the watch, the more functions it has. "Professor Li, how are the rookies doing? How's my little sister?" A rookie trial instructor suddenly entered the room. That was Sulanlan Nuanwan's older sister. Professor Lee checked the data and replied, "According to the tracking from the rookie trial watches, many recruits have already been eliminated. As for your sister Su Nuanuan, I just checked she's formed a team with 2 others." Lanlin was extremely anxious upon hearing this. As expected, her sister was too timid and was looking for others to cling to. She had warned Nuanuan repeatedly not to form a team during the rookie trial because the larger the group, the more likely they are to attract monsters. Just 3 minutes later, Professor Lee confirmed that Lanlin's worries were justified, because right next to Nuanuan Jiang Kai and Yuan Zhu, 2 beastmen had just appeared. Lanlin was so tense her whole body was trembling. Just 1 beastman is enough to slaughter rookies. Now there are 2. How could her sister possibly survive? Dying on the ghost planet? That might just mean your character gets wiped out in the game without hurting your physical body back on Earth. But the hyper-realistic experience of death on the ghost planet causes massive psychological trauma. Many rookies have gone insane after returning. Sunwanuan is so timid. Lanlin was afraid she wouldn't be able to handle the shock. She was already preparing to welcome her sister back and act as a psychological counselor. However, just as Su Lanlin turned to leave, Professor Lee announced that her sister was still alive on the ghost planet. And what shocked him even more was that those 2 beastmen had been wiped out by their team. This news shocked the entire research lab, not just Lanlin. Flashing back 3 minutes to when the 2 monsters first attacked at first, their reaction was still to run for their lives. Jiang Kai was no exception. But he quickly realized that running wasn't the solution. Yuanju's agility wasn't as good as his. They would be caught by the 2 monsters very quickly. So Jiang Kai decisively stopped letting Yuanju and Nuanwan run ahead while he stayed behind to block the monsters. In truth, this was a massive gamble. Jiang Kai wasn't sure he could take on 2 beastmen, but if he didn't try all 3, would die for sure. Thinking that he gripped his long spear and bravely charged toward the enemy. Jiang Kai's thrust was incredibly accurate, but the monster's strength and HP were no joke. Jiang Kai couldn't finish it in 1 blow. Instead, he was grabbed by the monster and thrown hard against a nearby rock. He couldn't even catch his breath before facing attacks from both beastmen. Jiang Kai's body was in intense pain. He couldn't move, only able to watch them closing in. Damn it, am I going to be killed? Is this how my rookie trial ends? Not far away, Yuanju and Nuanwan saw the whole scene. Even though Nuanwan was timid seeing Jiang Kai in danger, she wanted to turn back to save him. Yuanju, although much stronger than her, was shaking uncontrollably. Meanwhile, in the residential district of Zhangzhong City on Earth, Yuanju's mother was hosting a mysterious guest, the one who had given her son the materials to change his class into a martial apprentice. As she served tea, Yuanju's mother kept talking. "I don't know why you value my son so much. He looks big and tall, but he's actually a total coward. If he runs into a monster on the ghost planet, he definitely wouldn't even dare to fight." The man took the teacup from her hand and replied calmly, "That's true. When your son faces danger, he's more fearful than the average person. But I've noticed that sometimes, no matter how scared he is, as long as he sees someone in need, he will throw his life aside and charge in." Reality proved that what the man said was true. Because when Yuanju saw his best friend cornered, he finally overcame his fear and rushed forward. His massive frame blocked the path in front of Jiang Kai. Even though he was still trembling, he somehow created an unexpected sense of safety. "Kai, is this because I'm a coward that you—" Ahead, a hulking figure stands tall, blocking Jiang Kai's path. Though still trembling, they somehow managed to project an unexpected sense of safety. Kai, is it because I'm a coward that you—" "Leave me behind to cover you. No way we're brothers. Brothers stick together. If I'm going down with you," Yuanju shouted, putting every ounce of strength he had into his next move. He threw a powerful punch forward as if all the fear and panic he had been feeling was being channeled entirely into that single strike. And it actually worked. Even Jiang Kai was stunned. Yuanju had managed to knock the human-faced beast back in 1 hit despite his damage output being quite low. It seems this is the incredible control capability of a brawler class. Right after that, Jiang Kai felt an overwhelming wave of comfort like warm water washing over him. He realized Nuanuan was healing him. Seeing her turn back, Jiang Kai immediately grew tense. "Nuanuan, Nuanuan, why are you coming back? You're not a combat class. It's too dangerous. Ignoring his words, Nuanuan didn't waver. Her class is a healer. This duty didn't allow her to abandon a wounded patient. Even though she was truly terrified, she remembered her father years ago during a beast tide. He had fought desperately and died because there was no medical support. She didn't want anyone else to suffer that same fate. Now that Zhang Kai was her teammate and needed support, how could she run away and leave him behind? Under Nuanuan's dedicated support, Zhang Kai's wounds recovered at incredible speed. He let out a helpless smile. Both of his teammates were people who didn't know the meaning of fear. Even with all three of them attacking now, it was unlikely they had enough damage to finish off the human-faced beast. Yuanzhu was struggling to hold the line, while Zhang Kai was racking his brain trying to find a way out of this desperate situation. And he actually found one. Zhang Kai suddenly recalled what Nuanuan had said when trying to convince them to let her join the team. Besides healing, she could also use snake venom to buff the attack power of our weapons. Zhang Kai immediately asked her, Nuanuan, you said earlier you could extract snake venom, right? Yes, Nuanuan replied, clearly nervous. Then can you heal me while applying venom to my weapon at the same time? Zhang Kai asked, pulling out the carcass of a green serpent and handing it to her. Truth be told, Nuanuan had never done both simultaneously, but for the sake of her team, she decided to give it a shot. This was their only chance. If they could pull this off, the victory would be theirs. By now, Zhang Kai couldn't handle the beast's attacks anymore, but the brawler's abilities were perfect for that role, and Yuanzhu was doing great. On top of that, while his own attacks didn't have enough lethality to take the monster down, Nuanuan could provide the venom buff. From this perspective, the three of them were a perfect game party setup, including a tanka healer and a DPS. Before long, the venom extraction was complete. Zhang Kai immediately grabbed his buffed weapon burning with fighting spirit. He charged forward. So what if they were just weak newcomers? He would shatter every prejudice and lead his teammates through this trial. Yuanzhu, pin the beast down for me! Zhang Kai roared. Receiving the signal, Yuanzhu immediately gathered his strength and unleashed a punch identical to the one before. It was meant to stun the human-faced beast for a few seconds. His punch was absolutely perfect, and while the beast was dizzy, Zhang Kai lunged forward, thrusting his venom-coated weapon deep into it. With that perfect coordination, they had actually succeeded. With the support of Yuanzhu and Nuanuan, Zhang Kai had taken down one monster. The other one standing nearby saw this and glared at the trio, letting out a blood-curdling shriek. Facing the beast's gaze, the three of them didn't budge. Their eyes were fixed on the remaining monster with a single thought: kill it. This team synergy was proving to be incredibly effective. Now, even if there were another one... Before the thought could finish, both the monster and the three of them lunged at each other, signaling the start of another intense battle. Yuanzhu pinned the beast, Zhang Kai attacked, and Nuanuan healed. The battle was fierce, and they shouted in unison, "We can take this down perfectly! Back at the control center!" Professor Lee and Su Lanlin were absolutely shocked. Watching the monitor, she muttered, "What? The data from their wrist-mounted watches shows they actually killed two human-faced beasts. A single beast is enough to slaughter an entire group of newcomers. How did those three do it?" Professor Lee was breaking into a cold sweat. He analyzed, "According to the current data, Nuanuan has no combat capabilities. Their team has a level 1 brawler and their damage output is very weak. So the only one who could have killed the monsters is that boy Zhang Kai. But the strange thing is his class is unlisted." In the observation room, a crowd was gathered. On the large screen, Zhang Kai's profile was displayed. Name Zhang Kai. Gender male. Age 18. Residence the slums. Class unknown. Su Lanlin heard this, and her expression turned to one of utter disbelief. She continued, "No class. How is that possible?" Thoughts raced through her head. How could someone whose class wasn't even registered kill two human-faced beasts? Who exactly was this newcomer? Cutscene. After eliminating the two monsters, the system sent a notification to Zhang Kai. Player Zhang Kai collected monster cores 2. The three of them rejoiced, lying on the ground to rest after the battle. Nuanuan spoke up. "We did it! We actually did it!" Yuanzhu laughed loudly, also excited. "I didn't expect Kaiji to be so calm and adaptable. That was so cool!" Nuanuan sat up, her eyes filled with newfound confidence as she continued. "Now that we have the strength to face the human-faced beasts, we can definitely reach the destination of the trial safely." Yuanzhu agreed with her. He added, "We can just head straight to the finish line and end this trial now." The two of them were discussing it enthusiastically. That's when Jiang Kai sat up and said slowly, "Don't be in such a hurry. We still have plenty of time until the final destination." As soon as he said that, Yuanju and Nuanwan froze, turning to look at him confused. Jiang Kai, with a determined gaze, shared his thoughts. "Don't worry. Everyone knows that after passing the trial, we get points. If we can rank in the top 3 on the leaderboard..." Images of shimmering, powerful gear flashed through his mind. Jiang Kai then added, "I heard the military offers rewards for top-tier equipment." Nuan continues full of confidence. "Now that we have the strength to take on the man-faced beasts, we can definitely reach the destination safely." Yuanju nods in agreement. Echoing her intent, he adds, "We can head straight to the finish line and wrap this up." Their trial is almost over. As they discuss it excitedly, Jiang Kai sits up and says calmly, "No rush. We still have plenty of time to reach the holy wine sanctuary." The words stop Yuanju and Nuan in their tracks. They turn to him confused, but Jiang Kai stares back with unwavering resolve. He shares his thoughts. "Don't worry. Do you realize that after passing the challenge, we get points if we can rank in the top 3 on the leaderboard? The military rewards us with gear." Visions of shimmering, powerful equipment flash through his mind. Jiang Kai adds, "I hear the military. The team's high-quality equipment is a massive help for newcomers." On Ghost Star, he opens his system interface and looks at the monsters he has collected. He says, "Now that we have the strength to kill monsters, and killing monsters earns points, we might actually make it onto the leaderboard." He glances toward Yuanju and Nuan smirking as he drops the bombshell. "So why don't we go hunt monsters to earn points, then collect rewards from the military?" Yuanju and Nuan are both taken aback. They never expected Jiang Kai to think like that. A few hours later, it's already dark. The trio of Jiang Kai hasn't reached their destination yet. They are still in the forest, hunting for monsters. Yuanju seems to be losing patience, asking skeptically, "Kai, can this method really earn us points? I'm not scared, but did you have to make me attract so many green-scaled snakes?" Standing amidst a swarm of snakes, their eyes glowing blood red and tongues flicking out as if they might pounce and tear him apart at any moment, Yuanju's eyes well up with tears, his voice trembling. "Is it possible I'll die before we even get points?" From a tree branch above, Jiang Kai looks down and replies, "Juzi, man up, you're a martial disciple. Your specialty is tanking and defense." On the next branch, Nuan is focused on preparing her healing abilities. Jiang Kai continues, "Plus, we have Nuan here to heal us at any time." The snakes behind Juzi suddenly lunge forward. Jiang Kai's voice rings out, "You want to die!" He leaps in, unleashing his power to take down the snakes, adding, "It's not that easy." 3 snakes are defeated instantly. The system displays a notification, "Defeated 3 level 1 green-scaled snakes. Current experience 10 out of 100. Standing among the green-scaled snakes, he grips his weapon tightly, thinking to himself, "Because the rules on Ghost Star state only the killer gets the praise experience. And since I'm the only one capable of killing monsters right now, the group decided I should take all the experience for myself first." The snakes open their mouths wide, sharp fangs and long, tongues darting toward him. Jiang Kai dives into the fray, fighting the snakes and using all his strength to take them down one by one. His inner monologue continues, "I need to level up first to boost my strength and ensure the team's safety." One day later in the forest, Jiang Kai's group finally finishes off the green-scaled snakes. Jiang Kai is exhausted, collapsing onto the ground. The system notification appears, "Congratulations, Explorer Jiang Kai. Experience reached 100 out of 100. Level increased to level 2 and the double efficiency effect has been triggered." Upon leveling up, he receives about double the attribute points. Explorer Jiang Kai, Class Gambler, Level 2. Jiang Kai looks at his attribute board and says, "Awesome killing green-scaled. Snakes for an entire day finally got me to level 2. Yuanju and Nuan see that he has leveled up, and they are genuinely happy for him." Nuan raises her hand, looking at him with admiration. "Jiang Kai, congratulations! You finally leveled up," Yuanju asks curiously. "Hurry up and tell us what are your stats like after leveling up." Jiang Kai happily replies, "My level up gave me 20 attribute points. My total stats at level 2 are now 56. That's not bad." Nuan and Yuanju hear this, their eyes widening in shock. It sounds like an impossible number to them. Juzi has to ask again. How many Yuanju's eyes are round, mouth agape, as he pulls up his own attribute board to check Explorer Yuanju class martial disciple level. E1. He says, oh my god, I know that leveling up only increases physical strength, agility, and mental power. A normal person only gets 10 attribute points, but you got 20. Yuanju's total stats are 26. Nuan also opens her attribute board to check again Explorer to Nuan. Class Doctor level 1. She speaks up. My total stats are 56. It looks like he can rival a level 4 already. That is just terrifying. To Nuan's total stats are 12. Zhang Kai hears their confusion and explains, it's nothing, it's just my class trait. My class allows me to double leveling rewards, penalties, and bonuses, but the penalties can also double. Everyone please keep this a secret for me. Nuan approaches Zhang Kai. She claps her hands and says, although I don't understand it, it feels like a very powerful class. Yuanju chimes in. How is it even cooler than my martial disciple class? The three of them are talking when suddenly A-Brain appears. She says to Zhang Kai, players reaching level 2 will receive a class skill. However, because the gambler's double talent is activated, you will receive a 2 of them. Zhang Kai is surprised and replies, the skill I get for reaching level 2 can be doubled too, so I have 2 class skills now. Yuanju and Nuan look even more surprised. Yuanju yells, your skills can be doubled too. That's so overpowered. A-Brain. It continues. That's correct. The first class skill is Ghost Hand Throwing Cards. This skill is represented by an arm holding a card. Below the class icon it says, Ghost Hand Throwing Cards when throwing items. Adds a 20% piercing effect. When throwing card-type items excluding items with existing effects, piercing effect increases by 200%, but a mental power consumption increases by 100%. The skill can be upgraded. The second class skill is Ghost Eye Focus. The icon shows an eye with 2 red pupils. Ghost Eye Focus vision and eye tracking ability increase by 50%, but mental consumption increases by 100%. The skill can be upgraded. Zhang Kai looks at the screen. And says, are those both ranged skills, although I don't, and know how to use them, yet the gambler class seems quite suitable for me. Zhang Kai adds, all right, now that I'm stronger, we can go hunt higher level monsters for more experience. Nuan squints her eyes and smiles, nodding. Juzi stands behind them with his hands on his hips, grumbling, there he goes showing off again. Scene change. 2 days later in the observation room in front of the large screen. Lan is standing there observing. Professor Lee walks over and says, Officer, 2. It's been 2 days already. I didn't expect your younger sister to still be alive. Lan shoots him a cold, sharp look and replies, is that so? She smiles dismissively and continues, the rookie team survived, which means that Zhang Kai guy actually has some skill. The 2 are talking when suddenly hurried footsteps enter. It turns out to be Officer Lam. He points and shouts, Officer in charge, rookie trial notice. Danger ahead. Everyone get on high alert. Before he could even finish, the group turned back to look at him, their faces full of worry. The officer continued, we've detected an anomaly at the border. The L Kingdom has once again sent people to infiltrate our rookie zone. It's a large-scale breach, something we rarely see. As he spoke, he noticed a man walking in. He immediately straightened his posture and saluted. Everyone looked toward the man who had just entered. It turned out to be the highest commander of the Central Zone Commander Wei Ying. He paused for a moment, then added, we must prepare to respond immediately. Su Lanlin couldn't believe her ears. She asked anxiously, a large-scale infiltration by foreigners, really, Commander Wei? Wei Ying just sighed, then replied, if it were a lie, I wouldn't be here. Su Lanlin's face went pale. This is bad, she thought. The intruders are from the L Kingdom, a group that specializes in slaughtering rookies from other countries. They do this to prevent the development of special classes in those nations. Cut to the training zone. People near the fence shouted, keep it up. A rookie replied, we'll do our best. Just as the rookie finished speaking, caption bubbles appeared. Because of the rules of the spirit trial, high-level players cannot enter the rookie zone. Bang to help the newcomers. So rookies must rely on themselves to pass the trials. But the professional intruders from the El Kingdom are different. They can exploit their class traits to infiltrate other countries' rookie zones, and those countries have no way to fight back. Furthermore, they use cruel methods to hunt down and kill players from other nations, leaving them with terrifying memories of death. A flashback shows a rookie who had been captured by the intruders. His name was Tran Hai. He had a blade pressed against his throat. He sobbed and begged them not to harm him, but it was all hopeless. Only his screams remained. Their goal is to terrify the new recruits with torture, making them afraid to log into the spirit realm, thereby significantly suppressing the number of new players in other nations. After Tran Hai was returned, his mind was shattered. He kept clutching his head in fear, shouting, "No! Even if you kill me, I don't want to go back to the spirit realm!" Su Lanlin clenched her fist and slammed it onto the table, shouting, "Those bastards!" Gritting her teeth, her face full of fury, she continued, "Nuanuan's stress tolerance is so low. If she runs into those monsters—" Wei Ying sighed and said to her, "Get psychological counseling ready for the newcomers. Their large-scale infiltration has already begun, so we have to prepare in advance for this rookie trial." No one survived. Zhang Kai and his two companions were currently walking through the forest when suddenly Zhang Kai turned his head, his eyes full of vigilance, and spoke up, "Over there." The master servant saw his reaction and asked, "What's wrong, Zhang Kai?" With a cold gaze, Zhang Kai looked in that direction. He gripped the iron pipe in his hand, preparing to throw it that way to see what was there. Yuanzhu and Nuanuan didn't sense anything. Yuanzhu asked, "Kai, what are you doing? We just walked past that spot." Nuanuan added, "Yeah, there's clearly nothing there." Zhang Kai at that moment was using his ghost eye. His eyes were glowing. Zhang Kai continued, "No, further away." Focusing his ghost eye, he put his strength into hurling the iron pipe far into the distance. The pipe he threw had tremendous destructive power, flying fast, traveling far, piercing through several layers of the forest. Suddenly, a sound came from far away. Zhang Kai realized something and quickly ran toward it, not forgetting to say, "I hit it. Let's go. Over and check." Yuanzhu and Nuanuan stood there watching him run off. They hadn't understood what was going on. Yuanzhu asked skeptically, "There was clearly nothing there. How could he have hit anything? Has Zhang Kai been possessed or something?" On the other side of the forest, the moonlight illuminated the woods. The iron pipe Zhang Kai threw had pierced and killed a wild boar. When Zhang Kai's group arrived, they saw the scene before their eyes. A system notification appeared. "Adventurer Zhang Kai has killed a level 2 wild boar beast. Current experience points 199 out of 200. Yuanzhu saw the system notification and could only exclaim, "Good heavens, Kai, do you have eagle eyes? How could you even see that wild boar from so far away?" Nuanuan also covered her mouth, her face filled with shock. "And you even killed a level 2 wild boar?" Zhang Kai walked over to the beast using both hands to grab the iron pipe and pulled it out. As he pulled, he said, "Nothing to be surprised about. This is all thanks to my new skill." A system notification appeared before Zhang Kai. "Do you wish to harvest the level 2 wild boar corpse? The level 2 wild boar carcass can be used as a weapon. Yes/no." Zhang Kai quickly tapped yes. He opened his system menu looking at the cards he had collected. He thought, "Now my ghost hand card throwing skill has increased the damage of my projectiles. My top 2 cards currently are Ghost Hand Throw and Focused Ghost Eye, and the Focused Ghost Eye acts like a double magnification telescope with a special slow motion effect that makes my attacks even more accurate from a distance." He continued to look at the card he had just collected and thought, "This means I can now perform long-range assassinations on low-level enemies without them ever detecting me." Zhang Kai looked at Yuanzhu and Nuanuan and said, "All right, I only need a little more experience to reach level 3. Let's go to the previous monster hunting spot." Hearing him, Nuanuan just nodded in agreement. Yuanzhu sighed. "I'm still at level 1, cut to a stream beneath the night sky." In the quiet, fast-flowing water, someone whispered, "Captain of Team 2, our luck isn't bad." Zhang Kai's group of 3 didn't know the danger lurking for them. They walked past the stream. A whisper echoed, "Didn't expect to run into a snack as soon as we arrived." Something emerged from the water, making a sound. Suddenly, a group of people appeared from the stream. Their leader was Sawtooth. He said, "We've got some new toys." John Kai turned alert, standing in front of Nuanuan and loudly asked, "Who are you people?" Sawtooth drew a blade from behind his back and slowly said, "Don't be scared, little friends. We aren't bad people." He and his cohorts looked at the three of them, with a savage grin, his voice full of madness. "We just want to slice your chests open, hang you up and drain your blood, or maybe use you as bait for some beasts and let you die slowly." After speaking, they laughed loudly and slowly surrounded the three of them. Another man slowly emerged from the stream. As soon as his head popped up, he picked up his hat and said, "In short, the target this time is only one." John Kai looked at him with a mix of horror and curiosity. A man appeared wearing a mask with a sharp beak, his eyes glowing. He was the Crow's Beak captain of the second squad, stepped onto the shore after crossing the border and scoffed, "It seems none of you new recruits from Sacred Glory will make it through the trial, Nuanuan." Her eyes wide with terror, she recognized them and whispered, "Kai, I know them. They're border crossers known for hunting down newcomers like us." John Kai and Vian Tru froze. Looking at her in horror, Vian Tru shouted, "What?" Nuanuan activated her holographic watch displaying images of the border crossers. "I already checked. They're all level 3 or higher, and the leader is even a level 5. The thought of facing such high-level enemies left her mind completely blank. John Kai gritted his teeth, his gaze turning icy. So many of them, he thought. They even have a level 5 adventurer, based on total attributes. I might be able to handle a level 4, but a level 5. Unless... His thoughts were interrupted by the Crow's Beak, who spoke with murderous intent. "Brothers! Shall we begin?" John Kai's mind raced. "Damn it, there's only one way." He turned and bolted, calling out to Tru and Nuanuan. "Nuanuan, Tru, pair up. We have to split up for now." Hearing this, they bolted after him, shouting, "Got it." The Crow's Beak and his crew just smirked. The Crow's Beak taunted, "Sharing the blessings and suffering the consequences together, is that how you Sacred Glory weaklings always act?" With eyes glowing a menacing red, he commanded his men, "You two go hunt down the one running alone. The other two, leave them to the rest of the pack. We want to torture them slowly." His two subordinates nodded in unison. Understood. The two men, Sawtooth and Red Eye, were both level 3. They immediately gave chase. The pursuit began as Red Eye and Sawtooth trailed John Kai through forest after forest. As they ran, Red Eye laughed wildly. "That kid's fast, isn't he?" Sawtooth replied. "He'll be caught soon enough." Suddenly, John Kai vanished from their sight. He was gone in the blink of an eye. Sawtooth stared, stunned. The two were forced to stop and cautiously watch their surroundings. Sawtooth and Red Eye backed into each other, each guarding a direction. Sawtooth sneered, "Kid, you want to play hide-and-seek with us?" Red Eye added, "I love it. When we find you, we're breaking your legs first." Suddenly, John Kai's iron pipe flew out at lightning speed. Red Eye drew his sword, excited. "This brat wants to fight back. The attacks of a newbie mean nothing to me." A beam of light flashed. Before Red Eye could even react, he was sent flying. Sawtooth witnessed his comrade soar back 100 meters, still confused. "What just happened? Why'd you fly off?" But when he looked back, his eyes bulged in horror. Red Eye was pinned against a tree, hanging limp, an iron pipe driven right through him. He's dead. How is that even possible? John Kai stepped out from the trees with a faint smirk. One strike, one kill. Is this a surprise attack? John Kai's eyes were filled with focus. In his hand, he held the 3 wild boar bristles he'd collected earlier. Not as strong as I thought. Sawtooth opened his watch to check, stammering, You're a Sacred Glory rookie. How could you kill a level 3? He looked at John Kai's info screen, which flashed with warnings. Critical hit rate unknown. Critical damage unknown. Trembling Sawtooth pointed at him. What, I'm level 3 and my attributes are only 45. This rookie, he has 60 points. How is that possible? John Kai retorted. Why wouldn't it be? Before he finished the sentence, he lunged, catching Sawtooth completely off guard. Sawtooth collapsed, groaning incoherently. With both enemies down, John Kai stood still thinking. Success. My total stats are equivalent to a level 4 now, so obviously I can finish off level 3s. I split them up to make it easier. My gap with level 3 is closing. And according to what I knew on Earth, if I kill an adventurer, I can... Before he could finish, A-Brain appeared. You have successfully eliminated an adventurer. You may claim their watch. Furthermore, before the adventurer's body vanishes, you can choose to extract their experience. 2 level 3 adventurers, 100 points each. Whatever amount you take, they will lose double. Zhang Kai's eyes lit up with excitement. So I really can steal their experience, and it's way more than killing monsters. Take 100 points from each of them. A-Brain confirmed and vanished. A system notification popped up. Congratulations, you have reached level 3. Zhang Kai excitedly checked his status screen. Name Zhang Kai, class gambler, level 3. He walked over to Red Eye and Sawtooth taking the watches off their wrists. He muttered to himself, total stats are at 76 now. A level 5 only has around 60. Clenching his iron pipe, his eyes filled with determination. I'm strong enough now. Time to go back and save True and the others. Meanwhile, things were looking grim for Vian True and Nuanuan. Vian True was injured, blood dripping steadily from his arm. Nuanuan's clothes were tattered. Han Sha, one of the pursuers, smirked at their wretched state. A fighter and a nurse. What a surprise encounter. Blue Shadow, standing beside him, laughed. Such sweet classes. Another man holding a short sword watched Nuanuan as she tried to heal Vian True, sneering, Take your time grinding them down. As Nuanuan healed him, she tearfully asked, True, Kai is being hunted by 2 assassins. Can't we really go back for him? Vian True gritted his teeth through the pain. We definitely can. Usually he was a skirt chaser, but in battle, he was different. As he watched the invaders surrounding them, he thought, even if the situation is hopeless, if my friends or family are in danger, The crow's beak interrupted his thoughts. Done playing games this time. High above eyes in the forest watched the group of pursuers. Yuan Zhu looks at the encroaching enemies surrounding them, thinking, but if my friends or loved ones were in danger, even if it meant certain doom. Suddenly, his internal monologue is cut off. Done playing those little games already. Skin them alive! Yuan Zhu thought, his mind racing as he anticipated Zhang Kai's arrival. Suddenly, Zhang Kai burst from the forest like a gale, his body crackling with blue lightning. He launched something toward the intruders. 2 of the intruders who were approaching Yuan Zhu and Nuanuan were struck by the projectile as it tore through their heads before they could even react. Nuanuan saw the scene and recognized exactly what had pierced the skulls of the 2 intruders. Seeing this, Yuan Zhu smiled and said, I knew he'd come back. Dang! Even Crowbeak was startled by the sight. He shouted, Who's there? You snuck back, didn't you? If you've got guts, come out and face me in this clearing. Crowbeak spun around searching, but found no sign of anyone. He stood frozen, trembling as his pupils constricted. He thought, I can't see anything. I don't even know where he is. Could it be a sainted glow with a new profession for beginners? If not... Fear took hold. He turned and started to run. Run. Just run. Yuanju and Nuanuan were stunned by Crowbeak's sudden flight. Nuanuan blurted out, Look, the leader is running away! From the darkness, a figure emerged. It was Zhang Kai, holding a steel pipe. You tortured my brother, and you think you can just run? His eyes burning with rage. Leave your lives behind. With those words, Zhang Kai hurled the steel pipe at Crowbeak. It pierced straight through the man's body, causing an explosion. Crowbeak let out one final cry before collapsing to the ground. Thick smoke covered the area, and the bodies of the intruders lay scattered. Zhang Kai walked out of the forest, stumbling slightly, and asked, Nuanuan, are the thieves taken care of? Nuanuan, are you okay? Seeing him, tears welled up in her eyes. You finally came back. She rushed toward him, wanting to throw herself into his arms, her voice trembling. But Juzi is critically injured. I can't heal him anymore. Yuanju lay on the ground motionless, his body covered in wounds with blood streaming out. He opened his eyes to look at Zhang Kai and whispered, Kai, I knew you'd return, but I don't think I'll get to see you guys again. With those final words, he collapsed, muttering, I'm heading out first. Yuanju lay on the ground with Nuanuan sitting beside him. His hand trembled as he pointed toward Zhang Kai. In a weak voice, he said, Kai Nuanuan. Adventuring with you two was the best memory I have. You two have to carry my share from now on. His eyes slowly closed as he forced out the last words. You must work hard and pass that trial. Hearing this, Nuan burst into tears, crying out, "Juzi!" Zhang Kai walked up to them, looking down with clenched fists. Suddenly, he grabbed an intruder and tossed him onto Juzi. "What kind of dying nonsense are you muttering here, Juzi?" Nuan, sitting nearby, was startled and stopped crying. Crushed under the body, Yuanju groaned in pain and sat up, yelling, "Who damn it?" He looked blankly at the person who was still alive in front of him. Zhang Kai explained, "I intended to drag all 6 of them back, but I only wounded them. You two finish them off to get the experience and level up. That way your health will fully recover." After hearing Zhang Kai, Nuan nodded. "Right, in Ghost Realm you can gain experience and level up by killing explorers." Yuanju, not expecting this, asked, "There's such a thing. What is this? Is this my reward?" Zhang Kai laughed, half joking, changing the subject. "Didn't they torture you earlier? Now we return the favor. You can just use your left hand to land the last hit." Yuanju and Nuan heard this and smiled deviously. In unison they said, "Let's show them what the cycle of heaven means." One of the men on the ground tried to crawl away. Yuanju laughed gleefully. "Kai, this doesn't feel right, does it?" The 3 of them looked down at the man with cunning eyes. Zhang Kai laughed loudly. "Doesn't feel right. In Sainted Glow, this is called returning the favor. It's a fine tradition we must uphold." Yuanju reached out toward the intruder and replied, "All right, a fine tradition. I must uphold it strictly." The man sat up and screamed, "You devils, don't you dare come near me!" Scene change. Meanwhile, in the Data Research Institute at the L Country Player Management Bureau, alarms were blaring. People were screaming in terror inside the room. It's too scary, too terrifying. A group of people woke up with unstable mental states, screaming non-stop. Lan Ying clutched his head in panic. Someone new arrived at Sainted Glow and wiped us all out. He was so ruthless. Han Sha woke up, drenched in cold sweat. He shouted, "My experience points were stolen. My level was dropped." In the observation room, 2 men stood watching the screen. One was Huang Kai, a high-level leader in L Country. Seeing the scene, he couldn't believe his eyes. "What is this? How could your group end up like this? Could it be that a new profession has appeared in Sainted Glow capable of countering the thieves?" At the same time, at the Sainted Glow National Observation Room, Professor Lee held his tablet and said urgently, "No! The data from Nuan's watch just sent in Nuan's team definitely encountered the thieves." Talanlin heard him and was deeply worried about her younger sister. "What is Nuan, okay?" Wei Ying, also there, held a glass of water, nodded calmly, and said, "Up until now, no newcomers have been able to escape the thieves. We should prepare ourselves for their deaths." Professor Lee heard him and explained, "No, that's not what I meant." He looked at the data on the big screen and continued, "My point is, according to the data, Nuan and her team did encounter the thieves, but they didn't die. Furthermore, they leveled up." Talanlin and Wei Ying were stunned, their eyes wide. Lanlin gasped, "What?" Wei Ying frowned. "How is that possible? They didn't die after colliding with them, and they even leveled up. Did the thieves help her kill monsters?" Professor Lee reviewed the data on his tablet again, seemingly certain now. "It's not that. If Nuan had leveled up once, I might reluctantly believe she killed some monsters, but the data shows she went up 2 levels. Everyone realized there was only one possibility. Both Wei Ying and To Lanlin were shocked, saying in unison, "Nuan and the others killed the thieves." The cup in the commander's hand dropped to the floor, spilling water everywhere. Lan called out. General Wei Ying stood up and shouted, "Quick, show me the data for Nuan's team immediately." Professor Lee replied, "No rookie has ever escaped from here. The Raider Squad, time for you all to make peace with death." Professor Lai hears this and quickly explains, "No, that's not what I meant." He points to the data on the giant screen. "I mean, according to the readings, even though Nuan's group ran into the Raiders, they didn't die. In fact, they leveled up." To Lam and Wei Ung stare in disbelief. Lam gasps, "What? What did you say?" Wei Ung frowns. "How is that possible? They crossed paths with those guys and didn't die. They even leveled up. Could it be that the Raiders actually helped her kill monsters?" Professor Lai checks the tablet data over and over, now certain. He speaks up. "If Nuan had only leveled up once, I'd begrudgingly believe she killed the monsters herself. But the data shows she went up 2 levels. Everyone look, there's only one possibility." Wei Ung and To Lam gasp in unison. Nuan and the others killed the Raiders." The commander's water cup slips from his hand. It spills all over the floor. Lam Lam calls out, "Commander!" Wei stands up abruptly. "Quick, let me see the data for Nuon's squad right now," Professor Lai replies. The man quickly withdrew his word and opened the data on his tablet to show the commander the information of the three-person group Jiang Kai, Noan, and Vien Tru appeared on the screen. Name Jiang Kai, level unknown, class unknown. Name to Noan, level 3, class medic. Name Vien Tru, level 3, class unknown. Vodoveung happily broke into a smile. Did they really reach level 3? If they didn't kill those border crossers, it would definitely be impossible to level up twice in such a short time. To Lam still couldn't believe it, her voice filled with doubt. This is impossible. Noan's class is a non-combat type. The base damage of a beginner martial artist isn't high either. Could it be that all those border crossers were defeated by Jiang Kai? That is truly exaggerated. Wei smiled broadly. I confirm it for sure. It must be Jiang Kai. But why is his class undetermined? What is going on here? Professor Lai looked at the tablet in his hand and speculated. I found some news about Jiang Kai. The reason it's undetermined is that every explorer arriving at Ghost Star must carry a watch to update information, but Jiang Kai is using a first-generation watch, the oldest one. As he spoke, Professor Lai projected the image of the watch for everyone to see. The first-generation watch is the very first watch used on Ghost Star. He analyzed further, but the servers for first-generation watches stopped being maintained over 10 years ago, and connecting to the network has become very difficult. That's why we couldn't see his information. To Lam said in disbelief, What era is this? How can someone still be using that type of primitive early-era watch? Wei hearing this also voiced his assessment. Impressive, that's interesting. To Lam then requested, Professor, quickly bring me all the documents on Jiang Kai. I will find out what kind of character that kid is. He received the order and replied, Yes. Back at Jiang Kai's group, Vien Tru looked at his information board and said excitedly, So badass I can't believe I actually leveled up full health resurrection. Noan also opened her information board so happy that she unconsciously clenched her hands. I can't believe I also... Vien Tru, upon checking his new skill, shouted, with joy, like a child. And I even have a class skill, Ground Slam. Now I can blow away nearby enemies. It's very powerful. Skill, activated Ground Slam. Noan also touched her notification screen. Skill, unlocked Medic's Heart. Noan said happily, I also activated my class skill. Medic's Heart. Now my healing ability is much stronger. Seeing the two of them so happy, Jiang Kai put his hand to his chin, thinking, and said, As expected of the warrior and medic class skills, they are very practical. Vien Tru stepped in front of Jiang Kai. He teased, Jiang Kai, you tell me I'm even a level higher than you now. Now I can beat up border crossers just like you. Hearing the master say that? Jiang Kai immediately opened his information board to show them. What are you thinking? You think just because you're level 3 you can beat a border crosser? I'm level 4 now. Take a look at my stats. After seeing Jiang Kai's information board, Vien Tru looked as if his eyes were popping out. He gasped, Huh! Vien Tru put both hands on his head, his expression suggesting everything was truly, insane kid. When did you reach level 4? Weren't you level 2 just a moment ago? Noan's eyes were also filled with sparkling admiration. She added, Moreover, the total attribute points are 96, equivalent to a level 8 explorer. Jiang Kai looked at them and calmly replied, Earlier when I was fleeing, I killed a level 3 border crosser. Coming here, I killed 5 more, so I hit level 4. Hearing this, Vien Tru's face was full of frustrated shouting, Why are you even more flamboyant than me? I can't take it anymore. Noan walked in front of Jiang Kai and asked, Kai, what do we do next? He looked at her and said, Next. He paused for a moment, then made a decision. First, I heard that captain say they are the second border crossing team. So shall we go kill the first team next? As soon as he said that, both Vien Tru and Noan were deeply shocked and said in unison, Half a day later somewhere. Bot. In the beginner zone forest, a group of people were pacing back and forth. Someone's loud laughter rang out. What a joke. In the forest, a group of people who looked somewhat barbaric were talking. Someone perched on a tree branch spoke up. The second team was wiped out by some newbies. I wouldn't even dare to dream of that. The person standing below with spiky hair and sharp teeth continued. That's right. If not, just let them retire. This person's name was Jia Nin, a member of the first border crossing team level 5. A large, tall man with a tattoo on his arm and a scar on his cheek spoke up to warn everyone, don't be careless. If the higher-ups have talked about this, we must also be a bit cautious. His name was Thietba, captain of the first border crossing team level 5. A guy spoke up in a tone full of disdain. Guard against what the biggest newbie in the beginner zone is only level 5. Our whole team is level 5. Here we meet gods and kill gods, meet Buddhas and kill Buddhas. Another guy chimed in, exactly. Over here, the group of 3 with Jiang Kai was hiding in the shadows observing this group. Vien Tru crouched on the ground watching them leave, his voice slightly apprehensive. No way, Kai, are you sure? You want to fight 9 level 5 border crossers? No one was also scared and urged him, maybe we should just go. Jiang Kai, hiding behind a tree trunk, continued to observe this group. He softly comforted them. Don't be afraid. With my current stats, even if I can't win, protecting you guys to retreat is no problem. Besides, if we don't kill them, they will attack the newbies of our country. As soon as he finished his sentence, Jiang Kai lunged out his hands, gripping his iron pipe tightly. While running, he said, so rather than defending passively, it's better to strike first. Vien Tru and no one hadn't even had time to react when they saw Kai rush out. They shouted loudly, Hey you! Thietba turned, his head to look back, his eyes full of vigilance. Seeing someone lunging toward him, he clenched his fist, warning his group, Careful, there's someone. The group also turned back to look. Jia Nin opened his watch to check Jiang Kai's information. He smirked triumphantly. Scanning, found it, a level 4 newbie, Hakan, standing next to him, also spoke cautiously. Level 4. A newbie who survived here is good. But how did he level up? Maybe he's the one who killed the second team. Thietba heard this and broke into a sinister smile. Not bad, this is a big discovery. Immediately he waved his hand, ordering everyone in the group. Everyone maintain formation, stay alert, chase him. Catching him means military merit. A bunch of crazy people rushed up and replied to him. Yes. Jiang Kai ran forward to lure them. He looked back over his shoulder, took one look and narrowed. Think, should I, or do these cross-border raiders still know how to maintain their formation? My plan was to lure them in, wait for Yuanju to find an opening, and use his earth-shattering stomp to scatter them so I could pick them off. Damn, the raiders were blown away, but their formation was too spread out. If Yuanju couldn't take them out all at once, they might escape. Jiang Kai kept running while thinking. The intruders are still chasing me like this. If I leave a few of them capable of moving, they'll definitely get away. But even so, we have a contingency. Jiang Kai suddenly stopped and stood still, thinking further. It's just that if I want to wipe out these raiders, He slammed on the brakes, spun around, planted one hand on the ground, and channeled all his strength into the iron pipe in his hand. He lunged straight at the pursuing group, streaks of blue lightning, engulfing his entire body. As he charged at the raiders, he made a bold decision. I'll have to use everything I've got to lure them in. Da'an and Hai Ying were leading the charge. Seeing Jiang Kai turn back and rush at them, the two of them stopped and gathered the others. They couldn't believe their eyes, wondering why this guy turned around. Seeing Jiang Kai charging with the iron pipe just a few steps away, Da'an pulled out a knife and lunged forward. He laughed maniacally. Where do you think you're going, kid? Are you so scared you can't even run anymore? He slashed his knife, hitting Jiang Kai's arm. With a look of arrogant defiance, he added, Wake up, brat! Blood splattered immediately. Jiang Kai gritted his teeth against the pain and let out a grunt. In his mind, he thought, no, it's still not close enough. Jiang Kai turned and ran blindly again. Seeing this, the raiders shouted, Still running! Seeing that the group had seemingly gathered in one spot, Jiang Kai thought, They've bunched up. Hai Ying raised his knife and sneered. Jiang Kai lunged toward the group again. Hai Ying thought to himself, still not close enough. As Jiang Kai rushed in, he skillfully dodged every attack from the group. Seeing the scene, Tieba shouted, "What are you doing?" But it was too late. Jiang Kai was already upon him, charging with the iron pipe. Tieba broke into a cold sweat. "We're level 5s. How could you a bunch of level 4 brats dodge?" "All those attacks!" Hai Ying checked his wrist-mounted scanner, then shouted, "Captain, something's wrong!" He stared at the warnings flashing on the screen. He continued, "At first, the time was too short to check his stats, but I just ran another check with the high-level scanner. I discovered that although I can't see his total stats, I can see his agility now." Jiang Kai lunged forward, his body covered in blue light, his eyes glowing. Hai Ying's voice echoed, "Almost 30 points." Hearing this, Tieba was struck with utter shock, his mouth stuttering. "What 30 points of agility?" Don, hearing this, also turned around and roared furiously, "You saw it wrong, didn't you? My agility hasn't even hit 20 yet. If his is that much higher than mine, how did I manage to block him?" Tieba went silent, stunned. He raised his hands to defend, watching as Jiang Kai bypassed one person, and then another. He thought, no, this can't be right. The scanner is rarely wrong. If that kid really has that much agility, doesn't that mean he was just pretending to be chased by us? Tieba finally realized he had been played. He yelled, "We've been tricked! Spread out!" His subordinates were stunned, standing still in confusion. One of them asked, "What?" Jiang Kai stood in the middle of the raiders, his eyes glowing. He let out a cold huff and said, "A bunch of idiots, you finally figured it out, but now your formation is all bunched up because I tricked you, and now you want to run." Before he could finish his sentence, a bolt of yellow lightning appeared above the group. Jiang Kai continued, "It's too late." Suddenly, Yuanzhu plummeted from above onto the gathered group. A blinding yellow light engulfed his body. Yuanzhu unleashed his crushing ground strike, and an immediate massive explosion rocked the area. The raiders were blown away by the blast. They only had time to let out a short scream. Seeing this, Jiang Kai smirked. "Well done, master. Next." Jiang Kai crackled with blue electricity again. He held short blades in both hands, just as he had used to take down the second group of raiders. Jiang Kai pressed the attack. After Yuanzhu's strike, he ran and shouted, "Leave the rest to me!" No sooner said than done, the first group of raiders lay scattered across the ground. Jiang Kai stopped the lightning on his body fading away. He exhaled sharply, cleaned up in one go. Seeing this, Yuanzhu roared wildly, "Heaven's 9 level 5s! All killed Kai, you're a monster!" The system sent a notification to Jiang Kai. Adventurer Jiang Kai has killed 5 level 5 poachers. Total experience gained, 2,000 experience points. Adventurer Jiang Kai, with the highest experience in the novice zone, has leveled up to the maximum level, level 5. He looked at his status screen and smiled slightly. Finally, reached level 5. He thought to himself, killing a high-level adventurer grants an extra level, but the experience gained is double. Is 400 experience per level 5 adventurer normal? Nuanuan looked at Jiang Kai, unable to hide her admiration. She let out an "ooh" and said, "Kai, you're level 5. I heard level 5 is the highest in the novice village." Yuanzhu chimed in, "Man, you're number 1. Jiang Kai turned around and replied calmly, "It's nothing. Just an adventurer killing adventurers to level up, that's all." He looked at the 4 survivors lying gasping on the ground and said, "I left these 4 with just a sliver of health. You guys should finish them off and take the experience." Nuanuan agreed. "Okay." Yuanzhu also asked, "Kai, what's next?" Jiang Kai looked into the distance and said, "Before I was hunting monsters to boost my combat power and gain levels. Now that I've leveled up, I'll lead you two to hunt monsters and earn points. Once you've earned enough, we'll be at the finish line." Nuanuan and Yuanzhu were incredibly excited. Nuanuan smiled brightly. "Sounds good." Yuanzhu was full of confidence as he flexed his bulging arm muscles and said, "Finally, it's our turn to hunt monsters." The 3 of them, Jiang Kai, Yuanzhu, and Nuanuan, after wiping out the group of raiders, continued their journey to hunt monsters in the forest. Jiang Kai led the way and reminded everyone to be careful. "We're close to the destination. We'll probably rack up a lot of points. But the closer we get to the finish line, the more terrifying the monsters become. There might even be bosses. We absolutely must be cautious." Jiang Kai walked at the front, Yuanju at the back, both extremely vigilant of their surroundings. Nuan followed behind Jiang Kai and nodded. Suddenly, the three of them were scared to death by the sight before them. A human-faced beast lay on the ground, its body mangled and unrecognizable, its eyes rolled back and bulging out. We have to be careful. Jiang Kai leads the way. Yuanju brings up the rear, both staying hyper-vigilant. Nuan following behind Jiang Kai nods in agreement. Suddenly, all three are paralyzed with shock at the sight before them. A man-faced beast lies on the ground, its body mutilated, eyes rolled back and bulging out. It's horrific. The human-faced beasts are lying there dead. No one stuttered in fear. Are those corpses of the human-faced beasts? V and True couldn't help but speak up after seeing the scene. They've got so many bite marks. Were they killed by something? Jiang Kai stay calm. He activated his spirit eyes to observe. His spirit eyes talent focused, and in an instant Jiang Kai's eyes began displaying strange symbols. He looked at the carcasses on the ground and said, "Just now from a distance I saw a golden light. It seemed like there was a golden monster that killed these two human-faced beasts." "What?" No one asked. "A golden creature." The three of them didn't know that something was silently stalking them from behind. Suddenly a surge of golden power appeared. V and True at this moment still hadn't realized that thing was right behind him. He kept rambling. What kind of creature could kill two human-faced monsters? Is it targeting us? Suddenly, the sphere unleashed lightning bolts attacking them. No one and Jiang Kai couldn't dodge in time and were hit. No one could only cry out in pain. What is that? Vientru tried to raise his arms to shield his body. He forced one eye open and screamed, "Golden! It's a golden creature! It's actually targeting us!" After attacking the two, it lunged toward Jiang Kai. He was still standing there unreactive. He just opened his eyes wide to watch. Vientru, clutching his injured arm, screamed in pain to warn Jiang Kai. "Kai, watch out! Its damage is insane! Don't let it bite you or you'll die!" Jiang Kai dropped the iron pipe in his hand and grabbed the golden light. No one and Vientru watched, one full of worry, the other bewildered. They both looked toward Jiang Kai. Jiang Kai also froze for a few seconds, because he had just caught something with his bare hands. It turned out to be a chubby mouse gripped tightly in Jiang Kai's hand. Vientru was stunned. What? It was so fast, and yet Jiang Kai... No one covered her mouth and continued, caught it with his bare hands. Jiang Kai looked at the mouse in his hand and said, "Huh, did you guys think it was fast? Isn't it just a fat mouse?" The mouse in his grip heard this and shouted indignantly, "You jerk, who are you calling slow and fat? Getting caught by you was just a slip-up on my part." Jiang Kai looked at it, scolding him, and just chuckled. "This mouse is still defiant, huh?" As he spoke, he opened his hand to release the mouse. "Let's let you go, and try again." Suddenly, its eyes glowed with golden power, its mouth opened wide, and it yelled, "How dare you look down on me!" It charged at Jiang Kai again, trailing golden sparks. Vientru saw this and grabbed his head, screaming wildly, "Jiang Kai, you idiot! Why did you let it go? That's the thing that killed those two human-faced monsters." Jiang Kai once again caught the mouse with his bare hands. Then he released it again and said calmly, "It's fine. It's too slow for me." Jiang Kai kept repeating the action of catching the mouse and releasing it, playing with it in his hands. Vientru saw this and was completely frozen. "Huh, Jiang Kai, is he really that fast?" No one covered her mouth again, her face full of admiration. "You're amazing." After a few minutes of mouse catching, the mouse finally raised a white flag, surrendering and lying obediently in Jiang Kai's palm. The mouse was tamed. Jiang Kai looked at the obedient mouse and said, "This mouse has been tamed by me. It won't run away anymore." Vientru saw the mouse sitting obediently in Jiang Kai's hand, and his jaw dropped. "Jiang Kai, you caught a pet just by relying on hand speed." The three of them turned to look at the carcasses of the two human-faced monsters on the ground. Jiang Kai added, "I wonder if this mouse can be trained as a combat unit. But picking up the loot from these two monsters is a huge profit." Jiang Kai put the little mouse on his shoulder and looked at Noan and Vientru, continuing, Noan, you two are just a little experience short of reaching level 4. Each of you take one monster and keep hunting to get you to level 5 before the trial ends. No one saw the fat mouse. On Jiang Kai's shoulder, her eyes lit up and she nodded. The mouse is so cute. Vian Tru looked completely crushed, saying, compared to Jiang Kai, a martial apprentice like me is nothing. Scene shift. Deep in the forest, a man trudged along with exhausted steps. He was wearing a blue cloak, covering his entire face, showing only a bit of his hair. He seemed to see something ahead and laughed excitedly, shouting, "It's here, finally here. After so long, I've finally reached the end of the novice zone. Before him stood a massive city. This was Holy Glory City. He took step after step up the stairs toward the high gate of the city. The doors opened, and a group of people holding spears slowly emerged. The 3 people walked down the steps toward the cloaked figure. The leader stepped forward to greet him. "Congratulations on passing the trial. We are the new arrival guides. Welcome to becoming an official explorer of the spirit world." This person was the new arrival guide, Ha Dao. Ha Dao walked up and patted his shoulder, consoling him. "But it's a pity someone already took the first place before you. But the ranking isn't important. A newcomer passing the trial is already impressive." Before Ha Dao finished speaking, the guy swatted his hand off his shoulder and sneered coldly, "Commander, I am certainly not the first one to get here." He raised his hand and opened the cards he had collected, his voice full of arrogance. "But on what basis do you think I'm not number 1? The 3 of them saw—" He had so many cards. They were incredibly shocked. The person behind Hadao Havai spoke up, "What, the ranking is calculated based on points? Having that many monster kill cards means he can exchange for a lot of points." Hadao also chimed in, "For one person to kill that many monsters." The man then slowly pulled the hood of his cloak down, laughing with a scornful tone. "Don't waste your breath." He was a guy with spiky golden blonde hair. He said loudly, "I am the 2nd young master of the Huang family, a future elite of the Xuanvu Guild. Before I came to the spirit world, I underwent special training." The 2nd young master of the Huang family, Huang Vai Hadao, heard this, and was even more shocked. He spoke as if confirming it again. "What, the Huang family that owns the Xuanvu Guild?" Javi also chimed in. "The Xuanvu Guild is one of the 10 great guilds. It's not surprising if it's such a large family." Hadao turned to congratulate him. "Then congratulations. Based on points, you are not only the first place in this trial, and perhaps even a top 10 saint-level genius." Huang Vi spread his arms wide, looking up at the sky and letting out a booming laugh. "Starting today, I, Huang Vi, am unleashing my true power. Being first in the trial is just the beginning. The newcomer title will soon be mine. Just give me some time and the Ghost Emperor realm will become the era of Huang Vi, transition to the newbie trial area." Jiang Kai continued searching for monsters in the forest. He had walked for a while without seeing a single one, and he was slightly puzzled. "That's strange. I've been walking all day. Logically, the closer I get to the destination, the more monsters there should be. Why can't I find a single one?" Jiang Kai glanced behind him and continued, "Don't tell me this little mouse scared them all away. How could that be?" No-on followed behind him, only paying attention to the chubby mouse sleeping on Jiang Kai's hood. "The little mouse is so cute." Suddenly a loud noise erupted, causing Jiang Kai's group to turn around, filled with sudden dread. Sharp, massive claws burst from the ground. Jiang Kai's eyes widened. "This is a shadow wolf!" A pack of ferocious wolves was advancing toward the 3 of them. Just then a gigantic wolf stepped out. Tick. Finally, as its massive paws hit the ground, a blue shockwave rippled outward. The giant wolf had gray-white fur and a distinct scar over one eye. "This is the boss of the newbie area, the Saint Level." Shadow Wolf King. Jiang Kai Noan. Noan and Vian Tru stood back to back, their expressions shifting from startled to deathly pale. Jiang Kai realized, "This wolf," he shouted, "we're in trouble. It's the newbie zone boss, the Shadow Wolf King. It turns out there were no monsters because we stumbled into the boss's territory." The pack of wolves had completely surrounded them. "We're surrounded," the 3 said in unison. Vian Tru looked at Jiang Kai, tears welling up in his eyes. Jiang Kai, I've heard the Wolf King is the strongest creature in the newbie zone. No one has ever survived an encounter with it. What do we do now? Jiang Kai gripped the iron pipe tightly, thinking, what now? There are too many wolves here. If I were alone, I could escape, but True and no one won't make it. No one. Looks like I have no choice but to risk it all. Having made up his mind, he charged forward and yelled to his two companions who were still frozen in place. True, no one! We can't outrun them! The only way to break through is to kill the Wolf King! Let's team up! Hearing this, the two agreed. Got it! Jiang Kai lunged forward. On his side, Vien Tru channeled his strength and slammed a powerful blow into the ground. Take this! The impact created a massive shockwave and electrical sparks sending the ground shaking. The wolves were thrown back by the force of Vien Tru's blow. Seeing this, Jiang Kai praised him. Great crowd control True. Jiang Kai then gave instructions to Noan. Noan, coat the weapons with green viper toxin now. She nodded, understood, and immediately started mixing the poison. It was Jiang Kai's turn. He activated two skills simultaneously. Watch this Ghost Eye Focus Ghost Hand Flying Dagger. Jiang Kai unleashed a massive blast of energy. The attack flew straight toward the Wolf King. The beast let out a howl, baring its teeth and glaring at Jiang Kai's group with furious eyes. The three of them stood there, mouths agape in fear. Jiang Kai shouted, "What?" It couldn't penetrate the Wolf King's defense. The Wolf King bared its razor-sharp fangs and lunged at the three of them. The other wolves followed suit, teeth snapping, swarming the group. Jiang Kai was besieged, and Noan, injured, stammered, "This is bad. The Wolf King is commanding a full-scale assault." Nearby, Vien Tru used his muscular arms to pry open a wolf's jaws. While struggling, he yelled, "Jiang Kai attacking the Wolf King isn't working. Is there any other way?" Jiang Kai wasn't faring any better, fighting off the wolves. He thought to himself, "I can't just defend. The Wolf King is too strong, and there are too many of them. I can't kill them all." Suddenly, the chubby mouse on Jiang Kai's hood was awakened by the commotion. It let out an angry squeak. "Get out of here!" glaring at the wolves charging at them. It quickly identified the culprit, the wolves. While Jiang Kai was still struggling to hold off the pack, the little mouse grew enraged. Its body began to glow with heat, teeth clamped shut. It was having a sleep-deprived meltdown. The mouse lunged out its body, surging with golden light as it attacked the pack. It opened its mouth, eyes blazing with fury, and lunged to bite and tear at the Wolf King. The Wolf King could only howl in pain as it was bitten. Jiang Kai was stunned. That mouse. It tore through the Wolf King's skin. He realized what happened and immediately activated Ghost Eye Focus. He could clearly see the wounds on the Wolf King's body. He thought the mouse actually opened a wound good. The defense was too high earlier, so the attacks failed. But now that the skin is broken, I just need to target the wound. Jiang Kai's train of thought was interrupted. He pinned a wolf's mouth shut with one hand, and with the other he immediately channeled his strength into the iron pipe and hurled it toward the Wolf King. The Wolf King's defense is compromised. The iron pipe struck true, forcing the beast to roar in agony. The little mouse fell off the wolf and landed on the ground with a thud. Seeing it worked, Jiang Kai unleashed his next skill. As he fired 3 short daggers, he thought, "It really works. Now I just need to keep using Ghost Eye Focus to attack the same spot. I can definitely do this." Under Jiang Kai's continuous assault, the Wolf King was wounded, its fur soaked in blood. Jiang Kai unleashed a final blow that caused the Wolf King to explode. Critical hit, 200x. The explosion was massive. Noan, and Vien Tru had to shield their eyes. "What just happened?" Noan gasped. Vien Tru added, "He killed the Shadow Wolf King." Jiang Kai stood there frozen. A system notification appeared. "Congratulations to Explorer Jiang Kai for defeating the newbie zone boss Shadow Wolf King." Jiang Kai couldn't believe his eyes. "What I wanted to drag this out, but I triggered a 200 times critical hit," he thought. "Well, I guess it makes sense. I've been grinding for so long without a single crit. A bit of luck now is only fair." Seeing their leader had fallen, the wolves panicked. They gradually backed away before turning and scattering in all directions. Noan noticed and said, "Jiang Kai, look, the pack, they're trying to run." Jiang Kai called out to the other two. "True, Noan, can you still fight?" They both replied in unison, "We can." "That's all I needed to hear," Jiang Kai said, bursting with energy as he lunged forward again. Without the Wolf King to command them, this pack is nothing but fish on a chopping block. Vientru gritted his teeth, remembering how they had been treated just moments ago. All three shouted in unison, "Don't let them escape! Kill them all!" The three charged at the pack, coordinating perfectly. Jiang Kai and Vientru attacked, while no one supported from the rear, healing them until all the wolves lay sprawled on the ground. This pack of wolves is nothing but sitting ducks now. Yuanzhu grits his teeth. Remember how they treated us earlier. All three shout in unison, "Don't hold back, kill them!" They charge the wolves, working in perfect sync. Jiang Kai and Yuanzhu attack, while Nuan provides support and heals them from behind until the wolves are all lying dead on the ground. They are laughing and celebrating, huh? After the battle, looking at the wolves lying on the ground, the master happily said, "I honestly didn't expect us to be able to take down the beginner zone boss." Nuan also excitedly cheered, "We're seriously just too amazing." Then Jiang Kai turned to the two and spoke up. "I left a lot of shadow wolves back there that were still low on health. You guys should go finish them off to get some more points." Upon hearing this, Nuan immediately nodded. Yuanzhu also chimed in, asking, "So what's next?" "Right here," Jiang Kai replied. "Since we have a ton of points in our hands now, obviously we head to the final destination." A few hours later, as the sun came up, the three finally arrived. At the finish line, there were many people coming and going, bustling with activity. As Yuanzhu observed the crowd, he said, "Is this really the territory of the Holy Radiance Kingdom?" On Soulstar, Nuan also excitedly exclaimed, "It's so majestic." Hearing them, Jiang Kai joined in. "Of course, the Holy Radiance City is the biggest hub for the people of the Holy Radiance Kingdom on Soulstar." Suddenly, a mouse jumped off Jiang Kai's hoodie and ran away. Nuan noticed it and pointed it out to Jiang Kai. "Look, that mouse. It's running away." Jiang Kai saw it, but calmly said, "It's fine. That's its freedom. If it's meant to be, we'll meet again." The final reception hall for beginners was bustling with people and extremely lively. At this moment, Hadao was leading the trio. "Jiang Kai," he said happily. "Congratulations on passing the trial. I'm Hadao, the beginner orientation officer. Now all the beginners who have passed the trial are all here." Jiang Kai looked at him and said, "Officer, can I see the ranking of the beginners who passed the trial?" Hadao replied, "Of course." From afar, Huang Wei had already spotted them. He wore a sinister smile. What a coincidence. He walked toward Jiang Kai and pointed at the watch on his own wrist, smugly saying, "Who would have thought that the losers working for me would also join the trial? How about I show you the ranking board?" Jiang Kai's expression darkened as he saw him. He thought, "I never expected that bastard Huang Wei to be here this early." Huang Wei pulled up the ranking board and smugly said, "I'm in first place. As for you guys, you've also perfectly secured the top position. But only if you're counting from the bottom up." A group of others saw Jiang Kai and started mocking him too. The one in front, Liang Wen, said with a sneer, "Look at these losers. With scores like that, they still have the nerve to ask." Following him was Haidao, who laughed along. "They don't even amount to a fraction of those rejects." Jiang Kai's gaze turned icy as he looked at Huang Wei. He thought, "My little sister came to Soulstar to earn money for me. She went to work for Huang Wei's family, and that piece of trash harassed my sister many times." Furthermore, Huang Wei often exploited his brother's illness to humiliate him. He remembered the times he was beaten by Huang Wei and his lackeys, leaving him lying on the ground. He gritted his teeth in pain. After the beatings, Huang Wei would always laugh smugly and taunt him, "Your brother is just a sick dog, and you're just a coward." Yuanzhu was furious and prepared to charge forward, shouting at him, "Huang Wei, I suggest you wash your filthy mouth out." Jiang Kai saw this and held him back, advising him otherwise. "It's okay." Seeing everyone gathering around, Jiang Kai stepped forward and said, "My apologies, everyone. I would like to announce that the rankings will be reorganized soon because the top 3 spots have been taken by us." Huang Wei's group heard this and burst into laughter as if they had just heard a joke. Huang Wei pointed at his head and said, "Are you out of your mind? 3 people taking the top 3 spots based on nothing but talk?" He laughed and then said, "Officer, I think these people are sick." Then another one in his group chimed in, "Exactly, maybe they need a mental checkup. The 3 idiots." Jiang Kai turned to say, "Master Nuan, we don't need to pretend anymore." Nuan nodded upon hearing this. Yuanju touched his watch and said, "I've been waiting to hear that from you. Let's play our cards." When Yuanju's watch opened, thousands of monster cards appeared. Huang Wei's group was stunned, their jaws dropping. Huang Wei, unwilling to accept it, gritted his teeth. "What the?" His eyes stared at the pile of cards, looking like they might pop out. "How could there be so many monster corpses? Not only are there man-faced beasts, but there are also tons of shadow wolves. This is impossible." The crowd looked over the cards. Someone suddenly shouted, "I even see a shadow wolf king there!" Huang Wei couldn't believe it. He said angrily, "What kind of joke is this, you? You guys are all losers. How could you possibly kill so many monsters? Even a shadow wolf king. How could this possibly happen?" Zhang Kai didn't bother. Looking at him, he just smirked. "Whether it's real or fake, the ranking board has already told you. What else?" Everyone opened the ranking board. Whispers erupted everywhere. "Look, the ranking has really changed. If that's true, then their points are actually legit." Huang Wei gritted his teeth. He opened his own watch to look. "How could this be? They really did take the top 3 spots." Zhang Kai calmly put his hands in his pockets, smiled, and said, "You think that's all?" He took a few steps forward. "Officer, if we kill an infiltrator, does that?" Zhang Kai then tossed out a pile of watches and continued, "Count for extra points." Hadao saw the pile of watches in front of him and was completely shocked. "These are the infiltrator watches from the L Nation." Huang Wei's group heard this and were also terrified. "What infiltrators?" Huang Wei laughed crazily, mocking them. "You've exposed yourselves now. How could fresh recruits possibly kill infiltrators? You're clearly just a bunch of scammers." He spread his arms wide and shouted for everyone to hear. "Besides, there were no infiltrators in this trial at all. Has anyone here encountered any infiltrators?" A bunch of people heard him say that and raised their hands in agreement. "No, absolutely none at all." He pointed at Zhang Kai's group and continued, "Officer, look at how many witnesses there are. Besides them, absolutely no one has ever encountered an infiltrator. They must be scammers. I propose that their scores be disqualified and that they be investigated seriously." Hadao didn't know how to handle it for a moment. He only blurted out. The crowd began to clamor, pushing forward and shouting, "Handle this seriously! Punish these liars immediately!" Suddenly, someone stepped out from the throng. He spoke up. "Everyone, please rest assured. The appearance of the Phantom Hunters is real. We just hadn't managed to notify everyone in time yet." Huang Wei stood there stunned as the man stepped out. It was Lo Tuan An, the deputy commander of the Jiangtrong military district. Lo Tuan An was wearing a white suit and glasses. 2 others followed behind him. He spoke slowly, "At." On first, I was very surprised when I heard the news, but my superiors ordered me to personally commend the 3 of you, Zhang Kai, which proves that this is absolutely true. The group around Huang Wei broke out in a cold sweat. Hai Dao and another man shouted in unison, "What, that's Lo Tuan, the deputy commander of Jiangtrong. Even these big shots. The Bobbies are here. That proves they really were the ones who knew about those Phantom Hunters." Huang Wei could only manage a few words. Is it really like that?" Lo Tuan walked up to Zhang Kai and said, "Zhang Kai, the military wants to reward you for neutralizing the Phantom Hunter threat, so we've decided to make an exception and upgrade your equipment rewards." The crowd watching could only gasp in unison. "What?" Lo Tuan looked at Zhang Kai, gave a faint smile, and continued. "Originally, the rewards for 2nd and 3rd place were rank B, but now they will become rank A. And the 1st place reward for you, Zhang Kai, has been upgraded from rank A to rank S." Zhang Kai, Vian Tru, and Noan were overjoyed. Vian Tru laughed loudly. "Is that for real?" Noan beamed. "That's wonderful." Zhang Kai said, thank you so much." The crowd was absolutely shocked. One man pulled at his hair in disbelief, shouting, "What, the rewards went from rank A to rank S?" Hai Dao was stunned as well. "We've only just started the season and he already has gear like that." In Zhang Kai's mind, he imagined the Phantom Star classroom. He stood on the podium teaching. On the Phantom Star gear is ranked from S down to F. F is the lowest quality, lowest. And S is the ultimate peak. Generally, rank B and C gear is already quite good. Rank A and rank S are things every adventurer dreams of. Huang Wei stood outside, his fists clenched and trembling. He gritted his teeth, veins bulging on his forehead. He thought, even if Jiang Kai got an S-rank reward, it doesn't mean anything. How dare he push me down to 4th place? Huang Wei, red-faced with rage, screamed, "This is unfair. There must be a problem with these results, that Jiang Kai. What is he that he surpasses me?" Jiang Kai looked at him with icy eyes, speaking each word clearly. "Huang Wei, the military has already confirmed it. Do you still not believe it? Furthermore, I'm warning you, don't mess with my family." A man in armor shouted to stop him, but it was too late. Huang Wei didn't listen to a word, drawing his sword, with a defiant tone. "What's wrong? Did I say anything wrong, you piece of trash? Your family is just a bunch of low-class peasants." Standing right in front of Jiang Kai, he continued his insults. "You and your family. Your brother is just a sickly dog, and your sister is nothing but a servant. You're just a piece of garbage I used to beat up in the alleys. And yet today you dare to step on my head." Jiang Kai's expression darkened. He remained silent. Huang Wei grabbed his blade and charged at him like a madman, shouting, "You should know! Your servant sister is still working for my family. Do you dare to provoke me? Believe it or not, one day I'll—" Before he could finish his sentence, Jiang Kai slashed him horizontally. A huge gash opened on Huang Wei's chest. He hadn't even had time to react, before blood sprayed everywhere. Luang Van and Hai Dao were terrified, crying out, "What?" Noan and Vian Tru also reacted. Jiang Kai looked at Huang Wei. Lo Tuan stood by, watching the scene with a faint, complex smile. He thought, so he finally made his move, huh? Seeing Jiang Kai severely wound Huang Wei, the crowd was shocked, especially Luang Van. Huang Wei knelt on the ground, his body trembling violently. Someone in the crowd muttered, "Huang Wei is from the Huang family, one of the 10 great guilds in the country." This Jiang Kai actually dared to lay a hand on him. Huang Wei was drenched in sweat, clutching the bleeding wound on his chest. He gritted his teeth. "Jiang Kai, you dared to attack me. Do you even know what you're going to face?" Jiang Kai turned around, still holding the iron pipe in his hand, looking at him with cold eyes. "You animal, you spread rumors and tried to touch my family. Why should I care? Who you are?" Huang Wei looked at him, feeling a sudden sense of fear. Jiang Kai took a step toward him, saying, "To me, my family is the most important thing, as long as someone dares to touch them." The crowd outside watched his actions in stunned silence, not daring to speak. He stood in front of Huang Wei, raising the pipe. Jiang Kai looked down at him, enunciating every word. "No matter who it is, I will definitely strike back, and moreover..." Seeing this, Huang Wei trembled and raised a hand to shield himself, voice shaking. "Wait!" Jiang Kai didn't hold back, driving the iron pipe straight through Huang Wei. "I will kill that person too." As the pipe pierced through him, Huang Wei screamed in agony. As Jiang Kai pulled the pipe out, Huang Wei gasped his last breath. The system sent a notification. Explorer Jiang Kai has successfully killed Rank 1 Explorer Huang Wei. You can seize 6 experience points. Do you choose to seize them? Jiang Kai squinted, whispering, "Only 6 experience points. Is this wealthy family that poor?" After Jiang Kai killed Huang Wei, the Luang Van group watching from outside was terrified. One of them shouted, "What? He actually dared to kill the young master of the Huang family. Even though dying on the Phantom Star doesn't mean permanent death. The Xuanvu Guild of the Huang family is a massive power." Another one chimed in. "This guy is way too bold, isn't he?" Lo Tuan, hands in his pockets, watched him from behind, silently evaluating. "Not bad, this kid. Even if a bit reckless, he hasn't lost his integrity. No wonder the higher-ups specifically wanted to meet him." Seeing the chaotic situation, Lo Tuan coughed lightly and said, "Everyone, just now Huang Wei initiated the challenge. Jiang Kai was just acting in self-defense. This matter should come to an end now." Saying that, he waved his hand, signaling for Jiang Kai's group to follow him. "Jiang Kai, you 3 come with me. I'll take you to collect your rewards." Jiang Kai replied, "Yes." "Thank you, Commander." Vian Tru looked at Jiang Kai with sparkling eyes. "Jiang Kai, that was epic." Noan also said, "So cool." Outside in a small hut, a few people were, "Thanks, Commander." Yuan Zhu looks at Jiang Kai with sparkling eyes. "That was incredible." Nuan cheers. Outside in a small hut, a few people are watching. Standing there were the three of them, Zhang Kai, Lu Tuan, and Yuan Zhu. In front of Zhang Kai, No No, and Yuan Zhu sat three mysterious gift boxes. Lu Tuan crossed his arms and said, "Took you long enough. These are special military-grade equipment rewards for all of you. Go ahead, open them up." Zhang Kai replied with a "thank you." Nuana reached out to open her box, and a sparkling light emerged from within. A gemstone emitted a brilliant light as it floated toward Nuonu. She exclaimed joyfully, "It's a life jade. This is the gear every junior-level doctor dreams of." Lu Tuan saw how happy she was and gave a nod. "The life jade increases your spirit power by 15 points and also boosts your healing and potion-making efficiency." Yuan Zhu tried on his armor, which began to shimmer. Excited, he raised his arms to show it off. "Look at this! It's a leather armor set, so cool!" Lu Tuan laughed, patted his shoulder, and said, "The Black Rock Rhino hide armor grants 16 points and reduces incoming damage by 16%. It's a high-quality piece that's great for both offense and defense. This is so useful." Nuono, standing behind them, was curious and urged Zhang Kai, hurry up and open yours. Zhang Kai nodded. Zhang Kai opened his gift box, and a dazzling light shot out, hitting him right in the eyes. In front of him were 9 short swords inside the box. The system prompt appeared. "Unidentified. Equipment requires appraisal." Seeing this, Lu Tuan touched his chin thoughtful and said, "So, it needs to be appraised before you can see its stats." Yuan Zhu chimed in excitedly. "Needs an appraisal card. It must be really good, right?" Lu Tuan pulled out and something that looked like a strip of tape. He held it up and said, "That's right. Usually top-tier gear needs an appraisal card to check its stats. As it happens, I have a few here. I can help you guys identify them." As soon as he applied the appraisal card, the information for Zhang Kai's reward appeared instantly. 9 Tribulations Life Chaser, S-rank weapon, increases energy by 9 points, piercing power by 9, and agility by 9 points. Special effect. Every time the Life Chaser is used, the critical hit rate and critical damage increase by 10% up to at maximum of 90%. Once a critical hit is triggered, all Life Chaser bonus effects are reset. Seeing the stats, Lu Tuan spoke up first. So, it's a critical hit weapon. For a newbie, the base attack power is low. Even with a critical hit, the damage won't be that high. This S rank seems worse than an A rank." Hearing this, Yuan Zhu was stunned. He asked, "Commander, that feels a bit like you're pulling a fast one on my buddy, right? So Commander Luke and Zhang Kai trade it?" Lu Tuan put his hands in his pockets and continued, "It's a huge hassle, but I can help you submit a request." Hearing that, Zhang Kai immediately refused. No need to trade. I want this one." Everyone was stunned by Zhang Kai's words. Zhang Kai picked up one of the short swords to examine it. He thought to himself, how could this gear be a trap for me? This is clearly a top-tier piece that suits me perfectly. You have to realize that my critical hit damage isn't just double, it's 200 times that of a normal person. As long as I land a critical hit, even the Shadowless Wolf King can't stop me. But it's a real shame that my critical hit rate is normally very low. If I meet a strong enemy, I might die before I even land a critical hit. In that case, it'd be useless. But with the 9 Tribulations Life Chaser, each strike increases the crit rate by at least 10%. By the 9th strike, it's up to 90%. It's basically a guaranteed crit. He held the short sword, high up, looking proud. He thought further, you could even say this is the perfect god-tier weapon for someone who loves to gamble. Lu Tuan saw that Zhang Kai was adamant about not wanting to trade. He just gave a small nod and replied, "All right. If you like it, Zhang Kai, then there's no need to change it. After you pass the trials, you can return to Earth if you want." Lu Tuan walked closer to Zhang Kai. He reached out and patted his shoulder gently, then said slowly, "But Zhang Kai, I want to give you a heads up. Someone might come looking for you soon. I sincerely advise you to be careful when you get back home." Hearing Commander Lu's warning, the three of them, Zhang Kai, Yuan Zhu, and Nuo Na, stood there stunned, watching his retreating figure. Scene change. Earth, Saint Radiance Kingdom. Zhang District Slums. Zhang Kai was happily riding his bike home. While on the road, he thought, I never expected that I could pass the beginner trial so smoothly. I wonder how those guys will react if they find out about this. Next, I'll take Big Brother and Yingzi away from here. Get far away from the royal family as soon as possible. He looked up at the old, dilapidated building that had aged over the years. Trash was piled up everywhere in front of the building, giving off a foul stench. He continued to think, from now on we won't have to live in the slums anymore. Big Brother's body will be well taken care of and Yingzi won't be bullied anymore. He held his phone, his gaze fixed on the distance, as if looking at the bright future of his family. Zhang Kai kept thinking, everything is going to be just fine. Zhang Kai parked his bike and went upstairs. He opened the door and called out, Big Brother Yingzi. He walked in with a beaming smile, continuing, I'm home. Everyone guess how my beginner trials went. No one answered. He opened his eyes, and a man sitting in a chair immediately caught his eye. Inside his home, a group of strangers had appeared in the living room. Each of them had a sinister look on their face. The man sitting in the chair glared at him with pure hatred. It was Huang Da. Seeing him, he spoke up. Waited half the day and finally someone shows up. I heard you were pretty impressive in the beginner trials today, huh? Before he could react, he stammered. Are you Huang Wei's brother, Huang Da? What do you want? A thought suddenly crossed his mind. Oh no. How did people from the royal family get here so fast? Before he could finish his thought, a hand from behind shoved him, sending him face first onto the floor. Two guys on either side grabbed his arms, forcing Zhang Kai to kneel down. Kneel! Zhang Kai tried to fight back, but he couldn't, because he was completely restrained by those two. Huang Da stood up and looked down at him holding a baseball bat. With one hand in his pocket, he said, Zhang Kai, I wonder if you know that my brother whom you killed on Ghost Planet is currently undergoing psychological therapy. You know only people in the royal family are allowed to bully others. No one has ever dared to bully our royal family before. Zhang Kai glared at him in anger. Huang Da at this moment seemed to go crazy. His eyes were bloodshot as he smiled savagely. Since you made Huang Wei offline for a month, you're going to be logged out for good, you dog. As soon as he finished without blinking, he swung the baseball bat down at Zhang Kai's head. Zhang Kai opened his eyes wide, gritting his teeth as he stared at him, but he couldn't resist because he was being held by the two goons. Suddenly, the front door of Zhang Kai's house was kicked wide open. The door flew off its hinges, slamming into the two guys restraining him. They cried out in pain and let go of Zhang Kai's arms. Both guys Huang and Huang Dat were knocked to the floor in the blink of an eye. Huang Dat immediately shouted, Who the hell is that? Huh. Beside him, a tall man appeared, followed by To Lam Lam walking in. The man spoke up. Zhang Kai, I already told you to be careful when heading home, didn't I? But, so it was Wei Ung. He took a puff of his cigarette and continued. Why didn't you take that seriously, huh? To Lam Lam stepped forward and held up a document with a stern expression. Stop. The military is on duty. The Huang Dat crew was stunned to see Wei Ung. One of them stammered, What, it's Senior Commander Wei Ung, Hete of the Jiang Trung Military District. Even Huang Dat was shaken. Why would such a big shot come here? Wei Ung reached up, took the cigarette from his mouth, and looked fierce. We are here because of Zhang Kai. You've messed with someone you shouldn't have today. Hearing that, Huang Dat's face turned black as a soot pot in an instant. He couldn't believe Wei Ung would show up for Zhang Kai. He gritted his teeth and hissed, The Commander-in-Chief is here for Zhang Kai. How is that possible? What kind of status does that kid have? Zhang Kai, meanwhile, slowly leaned against the wall and struggled to stand up. In his head, a thought suddenly struck him. What a big shot like the senior commander of Jiang Trung is here, for me. Finally, under the pressure of the military Huang Dat, they had no choice but to bow and apologize, while two large guards stood behind him to keep him in line. Outside, Zhang Kai, Wei Ung, and To Lam Lam stood on the hallway looking down. At that moment, Zhang Kai spoke up. Thank you, Commander Wei, and thank you all for coming to save me today. I just don't know why you... Wei Ung cut him off. Don't be nervous. We were looking for you for a reason. During this rookie trial, you Vian Tru and Tonuan Nguyen performed exceptionally well. Do you know that after you left the front line, Vian Tru and Tonuan Nguyen were both invited to join the military? We came here to invite you too. After all... Wei Ung paused, took his cigarette out, puffed out a cloud of white smoke, and continued, You're a new class user, right? Hearing those 3 words, new class Jiang Kai was stunned. He couldn't understand why. Vi-ung knew about his secret. To Lam Lam turned around, looked at him and said, Jiang Kai, do you know what the appearance of a new class means currently in the world of demon spirit explorers? There are many classes. Every time an explorer reaches level 20, they have to undergo a class promotion. During these promotions, the explorer's stats and skills will change. Some get stronger, but some actually get weaker. Nowadays, many promoted classes, Iba, are basically useless in the late game. That's why to find a stronger strategy, the military is always exploring new classes. She stepped closer to Jiang Kai and slowly added, and the one you possess right now seems to be a very powerful new class. So Jiang Kai, would you agree to join the military as a new class user? After To Lam Lam finished speaking, everyone fell into deep thought. Vi-ung broke the heavy silence. Don't worry, we don't intend to force you. We are very sorry, but before coming here, we investigated your family and found out about your brother's condition. To Lam Lam at this point, Yi spoke up again. As long as you agree to join the military will not only protect your family but also take full responsibility for the medical costs of your brother. Hearing this, Jiang Kai still pressed his lips together. He didn't answer. Vi-ung and To Lam Lam left Jiang Kai standing in the hallway and began to walk away. Before leaving, Vi-ung said one last thing. How about it? Didn't you go to the demon spirit realm because of your brother's medical bills? If you agree, come to the military base to report tomorrow. To Lam Lam also left a message. Just look for me when you get there. Watching their backs, slowly fade away. Jiang Kai seemed to have made a decision. He spoke up. I'm sorry, I refuse to join the military. Vi-ung and To Lam Lam were extremely shocked by his decision. Lam Lam turned around and asked why. Jiang Kai continued, I know joining the military is a good thing, but that's only for classes that are guaranteed to have strong growth. In the future, like Vientru's warrior class, or Nuan Nuan's doctor class. He placed a hand over his heart, his eyes full of determination. But I'm not like that. I am a new class user. Remember back when the wine demon was discovered as a new class? Wasn't it highly valued by the military? Back then, the military poured resources into the wine demon, and the wine demon was in his prime. But when the military realized that the wine demon was useless for further development, didn't they just discard him? Look at the state of the wine demon now. Being promoted to a wine demon is no different than being a beggar. He thought about the image of his happy little family and continued, This time I was too impulsive and lacked preparation. I didn't expect the Huang family to ignore their image and strike directly. We must move out of this area controlled by the Huang family immediately. I am truly very grateful to you all for stepping in to help, but the 3 of us have relied on each other for over 10 years. Jiang Kai clenched his fist, showing his resolve. We are still more used to holding our own fate rather than relying entirely on others for protection. To Lam Lam heard this and roared angrily. But humanity is currently in a doomsday scenario. Your new class might just bring about a massive change for all of mankind. Right now, humanity really needs you. Can you think about it like that? Jiang Kai turned his face away, trying to avoid her gaze. He replied, I'm sorry I'm not that great. I just want to protect my family. And keep living safely. To Lam Lam heard this and still stubbornly tried to say something, but Vi-ung walked over. He placed a hand on her shoulder to cut her off. Forget it, I understand what this kid is thinking. Vi-ung, at some point, had lit a new cigarette. He held it between 2 fingers and spoke slowly to Jiang Kai. Habits formed over a dozen years cannot be changed in a single day. 2 days maybe, but kid, you have to know that your brother doesn't have much time left. His newly lit cigarette had burned 2/3 down. He flicked the ash away, then continued, Besides, in this apocalypse, fighting alone won't be effective. How about we make a bet? He looked at Jiang Kai and smirked. For the next month, the military will still protect you from being harassed by the Huang family. If within 1 month you can earn the money for your brother's surgery and prove that you have the strength to protect your family, I will agree to your refusal to join the military. But if you can't earn the money, the military will cover the medical costs for your brother to help him survive. But after that you will be forced to enlist. How about it? To Lam. Lam heard him say this and was stunned, not expecting Wei Ung to have thought it through so deeply. Wei Ying and Tu Lam Lam stood before Zhang Kai once again. Zhang Kai smiled as if he had already agreed to their request and replied, "All right, I'll do it." Back in the city, the sky had already turned dark. Alone in his house, Zhang Kai started thinking. Now that he was facing a bet against the royal family, he had to quickly return to the magic city Ma Tin to earn money for his brother's surgery. He wrote a note for his brother and sister, then headed out. "Big brother, are you all working overtime again? I passed the test and I'm heading back to Ma Tin." He left home and walked through streets filled with homeless people and addicts. Thoughts raced through his mind. Furthermore, with the threat from the royal family, the three of us can't keep living in a place like this. We have to move to an area with higher security to ensure our safety. So this time, returning to Mateen is a heavy burden, but next time I'll definitely come back with enough money. Zhang Kai returned to the holy Saint City Martin. Back at the Saint City, it was still bustling with people. Zhang Kai had changed into new gear. Looking at his outfit, he thought, after passing the trial, the adventure in Martin officially begins. He had just finished changing in the trading zone. Finally, I can earn money by fighting monsters in Martin. He looked up at the wooden sign hanging above him that read Guild. He thought, if a newcomer wants to make money in Martin, they have to join a guild because the monsters here are strong. They are so powerful that you will basically die if you fight them alone. That's why all new adventurers must join a guild to form a group to fight monsters. After all, a guild is a large team. Once you join a guild, newcomers can follow team members to fight monsters and increase their survival rate. Well, let me see which guild I can join. He opened the door to a room and walked in excitedly. "Hello, I'd like to join the guild." The purple-haired girl sitting at the front desk, whose name was Tu Huyen, replied, "To Zhang Kai." "Sorry, are you Zhang Kai?" "Currently, you cannot join the guild." Zhang Kai asked, "Why?" She pointed to a photo of him marked with a giant red X and explained, "Because you have offended the royal family, you are currently on the blacklist of almost every guild." Hearing this, Zhang Kai froze for a few seconds. "So if nothing changes from now on, you'll just have to challenge Ma Tin alone." Scene change. At the safe zone on the outskirts of the Saint City in the recruitment area, Zhang Kai walked there alone. Many eyes were watching him. Zhang Kai walked while rubbing his head. "What offended the royal family? No guild dares to accept me." He sighed. Did it end just as it was starting? Suddenly, someone wearing clothes with a large patch on the shoulder walked up from behind and called out to him, "Customer, are you worried because you don't know which area to go to fight monsters?" Zhang Kai nodded. Zhang Kai turned around. It was a girl. She was an adventurer named Ho Nan, a level 29 fortune teller. She winked playfully at Zhang Kai and said, "I'm a fortune teller. I can calculate the best place for you. It only costs 100 Matin coins." Zhang Kai looked at her and he was speechless. Zhang Kai turned to leave. As he walked away, he waved his hand. "Sorry, I'm an atheist." Honan hurriedly reached out to call after him. "Wait!" She gestured wildly and said urgently, "Customer, don't!" "Go, you can haggle, 80-30, or how about I give you a free reading as a startup discount?" Zhang Kai heard the word free, and he did a 180-degree turn. With a cheerful and open attitude, he stood before her. "Free, well then, sorry to bother you. I'm actually still very superstitious." Ho Nan saw him change so quickly and could only stare in disbelief, thinking he came back just because it's free. This guy is really stingy. She opened her skill bag and gritted her teeth, taking out her bagua plate. She thought to herself, forget it. I'll just consider this practicing my skill. She held up her bagua plate and it immediately glowed. She muttered some characters under her breath. In a flash, glowing characters appeared neatly before Honan's eyes. She looked at these characters and said to Zhang Kai, "Customer, you are currently in danger. If you don't want to get into trouble, I advise you to go straight ahead." Honan looked out. The place was the King's Valley. The King's Valley. Zhang Kai heard her and put his hand to his chin, his expression thoughtful for a moment. "Danger. This will definitely happen because the royal family is targeting me. However, the safe zone has rules against killing, so the royal family doesn't dare touch me there. He thought of the gray desire plains where strange creatures appeared and two monsters were holding swords. The scenery there was like a crematorium. He zoomed in on a volcano erupting with magma flowing from cracks in the ground. This was the place for new adventurers to level up, from 1 to 10, but there was a high chance the royal family would send people there to kill him. No. He switched to the peaceful mountain path. This place was green and lush with both mountains and rivers. But the peaceful mountain path was for adventurers. Level 15 and up. If he went there now, he would surely die. Jiang Kai pulled himself out of his thoughts. He looked ahead at the King's Valley and thought again, as for this King's Valley, it is a dangerous zone for level 10 and up. Given my current strength, if I go in here, it might be tough, but the King's Valley, the royal family probably wouldn't expect me to be there, would they? He thought for a while and finally made his decision. If the royal family won't, let me join a guild, then I'll just fight the magic monsters alone for you all to see. The King's Valley is my #1 target. As soon as he thought about it, he immediately ran, off turning back only to leave a message for Honyan. Thank you so much for the advice. Honyan didn't understand what was happening. She just waved at Jiang Kai. A moment later, as if she realized something, Honyan's eyes widened in shock. She froze. Wait, why is he going to the King's Valley alone? I said you need a team. The King's Valley. What kind of place is that? A newcomer like him going in there is just asking for death. She said that, then packed her things into her bag and prepared to leave. Forget it. This has nothing to do with me. Just don't take back my 5-star rating. Scene changed to the King's Valley. Jiang Kai arrived. The scene before him was lush greenery and babbling brooks. Jiang Kai looked at everything around him, thinking, is this the King's Valley? I wonder what the monsters here are like. Suddenly, a roar came from behind Jiang Kai. He turned. What kind of place is that? For a rookie to go in there is basically suicide. She starts packing her things into her bag, ready to leave. Whatever, this has nothing to do with me. Just don't come back and give me a 1-star review. The scene shifts to King's Valley. Jiang Kai has arrived. Before him lie green mountains, clear waters, and the sound of babbling brooks. He looks at his surroundings, thinking, is this really King's Valley? I wonder what the monsters here are like. Suddenly, a roar erupts from behind him. He turns. Jiang Kai's eyes darted around, alert for any movement from where the roar originated. A beast with razor-sharp fangs was gaping wide, letting out a powerful, deafening roar. It was a giant mutated chimpanzee, its long fangs bared as it viciously attacked a group of people who seemed on the verge of collapse. Thrown back by the impact, a young man with blonde hair tied back held his ground, shouting encouragement to the others to keep the display system running. The giant chimpanzee's status screen appeared, flashing warnings. Giant black ape, level 11. Strength 172, Constitution 68, Agility 142, Spiritual Power 13, Defense 31. One of the team members shouted, that black ape is level 11, we're already level 10, a little more effort and we can take it down. Attack harder! Let's rally everyone back to battle positions, they all shouted in unison. Meanwhile, Jiang Kai had finally reached the source of the roar. He crouched behind a large tree to observe the situation. Seeing them fight, he couldn't help but mutter to himself, is this what an adventurer's combat team looks like? That's intense. And the monsters around here seem incredibly strong. I wonder what I'll run into next. Suddenly, Jiang Kai realized something. His eyes widened. He spun around. 3 pairs of beastly eyes were staring right at him. Jiang Kai jumped backward into a defensive stance. It's really here, isn't it? As soon as he thought that trouble arrived, he checked the display on his wrist. It was flashing critical danger warnings for the 3 monsters ahead. Giant black ape level 12 danger. Giant black ape level 13 danger. Giant black ape level 14 danger. Meanwhile, on the other side, the squad had finished off the level 11 ape, and a system notification popped up. Heaven Sword Squad has successfully terminated the giant black ape level 11. They cheered in excitement. We finally won. We're amazing. One of them gave a thumbs up to the blonde guy. You're the best, Wuhan, he said happily. Captain, we're only level 10. but we took down a level 11 ape without losing a single member. Can we brag a little about this achievement?" The blonde guy laughed. Smugly, the guy whose name was Tuan Duat said, "Of course, just look at who the captain Before he could finish, a loud noise caught their attention. They turned to see a horrifying sight. 3 black apes were chasing Zhang Kai. He was running for his life, dodging their attacks while thinking, "I think I stumbled into their territory by mistake." Wuhan saw the beasts rushing toward them and shouted, "Captain, over there, someone is actually fighting 3 black apes." Kanchung added, "And each one of them has a higher level than the one we just fought." Ruoqi spoke up worriedly, "We have to go help him." When Tuan Duat heard them, he panicked and barked, "Are you idiots? That guy must have provoked all 3 at once. We barely managed to kill one. If we go over there, we're dead for sure. We'd better run." With that, Tuan Duat turned and took off. But just as he did, a massive explosion stopped him dead in his tracks. One of the black apes was sent flying. A system message appeared, "Terminated giant black ape level 12 times 1. Zhang Kai had used his 9 Calamities Destiny Pursuit skill. He'd managed to kill one. Zhang Kai felt a rush of excitement. Nice. Each strike of Destiny Pursuit increases the critical hit rate. By the 5th hit, it'll trigger a supercritical strike. Tuan Duat's group watched the scene. Everyone's jaws were on the floor. Tuan Duat stared in disbelief and stammered, "What? What? We had to sweat blood and tears just to take down one level 11 ape?" Kanchung, standing behind him, chimed in. "And that kid did it all by himself," Tuan Duat continued. "And in just a few seconds, he killed a level 12. The 2 remaining apes, seeing their comrade killed by Zhang Kai, became even more frenzied in their pursuit. Zhang Kai kept running and glanced back, holding a Destiny Pursuit weapon in his hand. He thought, "All right then, let's add another one to the count." He launched the weapon with immense force, hitting the next black ape. In a flash, it exploded. The system notification rang out again. "Terminated giant black ape level 13 times 1. Zhang Kai felt a surge of confidence. He was sure he could take down the last one. He thought, "Awesome. This time, just one attack with Destiny Pursuit with the 10% crit boost, plus the activation, it's a super critical hit." Tuan Duat's group stood there, watching him slaughter another ape. Their expressions were even more incredulous. Tuan Duat's jaw dropped wider than before. He stuttered. What, he killed another one? The last black ape didn't give up. It chased Zhang Kai relentlessly. Zhang Kai kept running for his life, thinking, "Great, just one left now." Tuan Duat, sweating coldly, muttered, "That's a level 14 black ape, the strongest one here. I don't believe he can kill that one." Zhang Kai glanced back, calculating. "I've only got 3 Destiny Pursuit charges left. But my spiritual and physical energy are almost drained. I can barely keep going." He poured all his remaining power into the 3 projectiles, thinking, "I have to bet it all. Before it catches me, I'll just have to maximize the critical hit chance." He used the last of his strength to split the 3 projectiles into several fragments. Zhang Kai turned and unleashed everything he had, launching the projectiles shrouded in red lightning at the final ape. "Let's see which one of us dies first." The ape lunged at him, but it was blown to pieces by the 3 projectiles. It only had time to let out a few wails. Zhang Kai saw it explode and cheered, "Nice, using all my weapons in one shot really triggered a critical hit." The body of the black ape fell right in front of Tuan Duat's group, leaving them stunned once again. The system announced, "Terminated giant black ape level 14 times 1. Tuan Duat's group went pale. They all chimed in, "He actually managed to kill all 3. It took our whole group of over a dozen people to barely kill those 3. Who on earth is this guy?" Zhang Kai walked over to the ape, breathing a sigh of relief. "That monster wasn't as hard to beat as I thought." Zhang Kai collected the 3 cards from the apes. He looked at the cards, thinking, "Now I've got all 3 of their bodies in these cards. See, solo leveling isn't that hard, is it?" With that, he ran off. Tuan Duat tried to chase him, but it was too late. Tuan Duat stood rooted to the spot, shouting, "Oh no! The master is gone, and we had such a chance to meet him. A legendary player like that. We should totally be friends, right?" He cried out in despair, practically wailing, "Why did you guys stop me from helping the legend earlier? I regret it so much I could die." I walked away while the trio Wuhang, Kanchung, and Nuok stared at him in total silence, speechless. They were all thinking the same thing. Is this really our captain? Scene shift. At the cursed plains, a crowd was gathering. Someone in the group suddenly spoke up. Am I seeing things? There are 3 martial apprentices and 1 soldier here. And a healer too, another person chimed in. Isn't that the famous Falcon Squad from the Royal Xuanwu Guild? Look, one of them is choking a girl. The whispering grew louder. What are they doing in this newbie zone of the cursed plains? They're so strong, that's Faitui the squad's healer. Watching the martial apprentice tighten his grip and lift the girl off the ground, she gave a cold huff and said, We've searched the entire cursed plains, but we still can't find that Zhang Kai guy. The levels of the Falcon Squad members were gradually revealed: healer level 20, martial apprentice level 20, soldier level 20. Trong Hai. The one choking the girl spoke up. I heard you're the last person who saw that Zhang Kai guy. Tell us right now, where is he? The one being choked was none other than Ho Nhan. She coughed a few times and wheezed out, Why do you guys want to find him anyway? Another girl in their group spoke up. She was Hong. Is this not common knowledge? Van Thi, standing nearby, smirked and added, Zhang Kai offended the royal family. We've been sent by the royals. To take revenge. Ho Nhan struggled, clawing at her own throat, looking at them with utter contempt. She replied, Is that so? Zhang Kai went to King's Valley? If you want him, go there and find him. Trong Hai let go and Ho Nhan dropped to the ground with a thud. He glared at her, his voice dripping with intimidation. Fine, but if you're lying to us, when we get back, you're dead meat. Passers-by started gossiping. A girl nearby exclaimed, The Falcon Squad is the top team among the royal family's level 20 explorers. Someone else added, Messing with a team that strong, that Zhang Kai guy is definitely a dead man walking. Ho Nhan sat on the ground holding an yin-yang 5 elements piece in her hand. She coughed a few times and muttered, Are those two really that strong? A fortune teller can't predict outcomes for those who lack morals? Her gaze turned grim as she continued. I secretly cast a fortune for them just now. If they really go after Zhang Kai this time, the result will likely be... Ho Nhan paused. She stared at the Bagua grid as a savage skull image appeared. Ho Nhan whispered just one word, death. A day later, King's Valley. After a full day of hunting monsters, Zhang Kai opened his status board. Glancing at it, he said happily, Nice, I finally managed to kill. 16 black apes finally hit. Level 6. His status board displayed Explorer Zhang Kai, Class Gambler, Level 6. Attributes Strength 24, Defense 0, Constitution 28, Critical Rate 0.1%, Agility 42, Critical Damage 20,000%, Spiritual Power 42, EXP 85 out of 3,000, a 200. At that moment, Zhang Kai was standing over the carcass of a black ape. He stared at the black ape card in his hand, thinking, They say the remains of these black apes can be sold for a high price, but lugging them around is a real pain. Still, I have to take it with me. It'll make the medicine for KK much easier. As Zhang Kai stood there deep in thought, someone's voice rang out from behind him. Hey kid, want to join our hunting party? Zhang Kai froze and turned around. Facing him was a squad also out hunting. Their leader, wrapped in a cloak that covered him completely, was named Hungdat. One of the group members spoke up. Our 3 teams are hunting an elite black ape. If we win, we get the elite treasure chest. Hungdat raised a hand, gesturing for him to join. Are you in? Zhang Kai listened then. Replied, A hunting party. But I don't have a team. I'm soloing. Hungdat looked at him with dark, calculating eyes and said, No problem. It just so happens we really need one person. They led him up to a high mountain peak. Looking down, 4 black apes were fast asleep. One said, See them, the super strength monsters. Elite rank black apes level 15. There are 4 of them down there, and they have an elite treasure chest in their cave. Another added, But these 4 are extremely strong. I'd only have 3 teams, so we need you to lure one of them out. Team 1, Team 2, and Team 3, Hungdat spoke again. You just need to lure one away. After that, the 3 of our teams will split up and take down the other 3. When you get back, you can have a share of the treasure. Zhang Kai heard the words, treasure chest, and thought carefully. Elite treasure. Chest, I've heard they hold lots of good stuff, definitely worth more than just selling monster carcasses. I have to find a way to get my hands on it. His gaze turned icy. But when facing elite monsters this strong, you're supposed to fight in a group. Yet they're making me go lure one alone. It's obvious they don't intend for me to make it back. These three want to swallow the loot from all four beasts themselves. But now that I'm already on the boat, if I don't agree, I probably won't make it out alive. Jiang Kai forced a smile and replied, "Sure, I'm in." The group was thrilled when they heard him say that, shouting, "All right." They started their move. "Great, let's do it like that. Everyone pay attention." They slid down the cliffside, moving while calling out in unison. Leading the pack was Jiang Kai. The four black apes sensed the commotion and woke up. Seeing the attackers charging, they roared to warn each other. Hung Dat stood from afar, shouting to Jiang Kai, "Hey kid, move it." Jiang Kai immediately took action and replied, "You got it." He launched an attack at one of the black apes to draw its attention. As soon as it was hit, the monster roared and frantically chased after Jiang Kai. Hung Dat laughed triumphantly. "Not bad at all. The kid actually pulled it off." He shouted, "That's one less group to share the loot with. The black apes also." But followed his shout and charged out. "Now I can comfortably handle 1-against-1. Everything is in my hands." His cronies also swarmed forward, determined to battle the black apes. The beasts roared wildly, their attacks causing deafening explosions. Jiang Kai ran, panting heavily. This is way too calculated. Right behind him, a giant elite black ape is relentlessly chasing him, claws reaching out to grab him. The stats of this elite black ape are likely many times higher than a normal black ape. If it were a regular adventurer, they would definitely be dead. Suddenly, Jiang Kai stops short. He is no longer running away. He turns around to face the ape head-on. In a flash, he strikes at the beast. "I'm not just a regular adventurer after all." He hits the black ape. The creature roars in pain as a barrage of energy cuts into its body, drawing blood. Jiang Kai leaps back. The black ape stops in its tracks, frozen. A second later, a beam of light flashes from the beast. Standing there, it suddenly explodes on the spot. Jiang Kai jumps up, landing on the defeated ape. The system displays killed elite giant black ape level 15 times 1. Jiang Kai beams with a bright smile, thinking, "That was smooth. I never expected to take down this elite black ape with just one supercritical hit." He frowns, looking ahead with a triumphant expression. "Now then, it's time for me to take advantage of those guys right far in the distance." That group is still fighting desperately. Some are helping teammates treat wounds, others are surrounding a black ape. They are all cheering each other on. Everyone push a little harder. Once we finish this, we'll split the treasure. Hung Dat sees the difficult battle and grits his teeth, sneering. He doesn't know that Jiang Kai has been standing behind him for a while. He throws a strike at him. Caught by surprise, Hung Dat only has time to scream before collapsing. Jiang Kai silently walks alone into the cave, moving deeper inside, following the direction of the vines. As he walks, he spots a shiny treasure chest lying on the rocks. Jiang Kai is overjoyed. "I didn't expect it to be this easy to get in. Plus, there really is a treasure chest here. It looks like it's worth the effort, doesn't it?" As Jiang Kai reaches out to grab the chest, he thinks, "Awesome, with this luring a level 15 elite black ape wasn't for nothing, right?" Suddenly, a soft cry echoes in the cave. Something just dripped onto Jiang Kai's shoulder. It's a black ape hanging above his head, eyes wide mouth. Grinning wide and drooling, it looks terrifying. Jiang Kai senses its presence. His body stiffens, breaking into a cold sweat. The black ape jumps down and raises its fist, punching hard right where Jiang Kai was standing. Jiang Kai quickly dodges in time. He is stunned. What, there's another level 20 elite black ape inside the cave? Did they not investigate before starting the fight? The black ape lets out a horrifying laugh. "Monster elite giant black ape level 20, extremely dangerous." After calming down, Jiang Kai realizes the situation. It is blocking the cave entrance. He flies up in front of the ape, waving his hand to strike. "Well, looks like I have no choice but to fight." The ape takes Jiang Kai's blow to its eyes and chest, but remains completely unfazed. Jiang Kai frowns. He is surprised that this black ape didn't sustain a single wound even when targeted in the eyes. The black ape's eyes glow blood red and bulge. Elite giant black ape earth element defense 23 points. His current attack cannot penetrate the surface defense. It can't deal any damage from the outside. Jiang Kai frowns, his face showing clear worry and anxiety. The penetration points of Death Strike are only 9, yet its defense is 23, could it be? Is this one just like the Wolf King do I have to break? Through its defense layer to deal damage. The black ape suddenly leaps into the air and raises its hands high. Jiang Kai fails to react in time. From high above, it throws a boulder hard at the ground. Boom! An explosion rings out and the ground cracks into long fissures. Jiang Kai takes the hit directly. He coughs violently, covered in wounds. He struggles to open his eyes. His forehead is soaked in blood. It hurts. The gap in power is just too big. Am I going to die here? The black ape takes advantage of Jiang Kai being immobile and picks him up. If I die in the ghost realm, I'll be penalized and have to wait 1 month before I can log back in. It brings Jiang Kai in front of its face, grinning and drooling. If things end like this, doesn't that mean I'll lose the exclusive deal with Commander Wei? Jiang Kai has no strength left, his breathing heavy. Will I end up dragging my brother and sister into being forced into the army? He closes his eyes helplessly, saying, but if I'm in such dire straits now, then his thoughts go dark. A voice echoes in the void of Jiang Kai's mind. Wake up! His memories flash back images of someone running in a hurry. The voice continues, wake up. Jiang Kai sees himself as a child, also covered in wounds, being carried by someone. It's his big brother. He is carrying him in his arms, running and sobbing amidst gunfire. You absolutely must not sleep. You have to try. Don't fall asleep. Big brother is panting because he is exhausted. Big brother will definitely... Jiang Kai looks at his brother, who is also covered in wounds. Around them, the sky is blood red and deadly. Monsters are roaring constantly. The scene is terrifyingly desolate. His brother screams through tears, I will! I'll definitely get you guys out of this battlefield. This was 10 years ago at the Beast God battlefield. His mind goes dark again. This time, Jiang Kai wakes up. He is still being held by the black ape. Jiang Kai awakens. What? How? Could I have fallen asleep? The black ape opens its mouth wide, pushing Jiang Kai inside. He is still motionless in its grip. Big brother was able to save me when we were on the Beast God battlefield. And my sister too. Jiang Kai struggles to open his palm. A glowing red ray shoots out from his hand. Because of that, how could I... He opens his eyes wide, bulging. His body swells with raw power. A red hue colors everything. Jiang Kai growls, how could I fall here? The black ape swallows him whole before he can act. It grins happily, having just had a filling meal. But immediately a beam of light pierces through from inside its eyes. Its expression changes instantly. Before it can react, blood sprays everywhere. Where the head once was only blood is gushing out. The black ape collapses to the ground, no longer moving. Jiang Kai stands up, bracing himself. Killed elite giant black ape earth element level 20 times 1. He thinks with joy, success. Even though this black ape's outer defense is very high, the inside of its mouth has no defense at all. He slowly lifts his hand from the ground. So I just need to attack. Inside its mouth to bypass the defensive layer. It's exactly the same as when I killed the Wolf King. Jiang Kai struggles to stand up, covered in wounds. Then, as if remembering something, he looks toward the elite treasure chest. Jiang Kai turns his head to look at the shiny chest still sitting neatly on the rock. He smirks. Finally, it's mine. Half an hour later, as if suddenly remembering something, the young master Jiang Kai gestured to the brilliant treasure chest. He turned his head to look at the glowing box sitting neatly on the rock, a smirk playing on his lips. It's finally mine. Half an hour later, the group outside has finished off all the black apes and they're cheering, we won. One guy yells, we owe it all to that kid for leading one of them away. If he hadn't, we would have been wiped out. Another chimes in, well, that brat is definitely dead by now, right? Hungdat listens and thinks, all right, if he's dead, doesn't that mean... We get a bigger cut. They gather in front of the cave entrance, excitedly heading in. Let's go. The treasure chest must be inside, waiting for us. We're gonna hit the jackpot this time. Hungdat suddenly stops. His eyes widen in shock. Inside the cave, there's nothing left. The cave is pitch black with only the sound of wind whistling. The chest has been taken. Hung Dat can't believe his eyes and lets out a roar of frustration. What the hell is this? Where's the chest? The elite treasure chest. How is it gone? One guy hurriedly raises his hand and says, Boss, I remember now during the fight, I think I saw that kid sneaking into the cave. Hung Dat glares at him in shock. What? Why didn't you tell me sooner? The guy Ho Luke stammers. I thought it was just a hallucination. Because I didn't think he could possibly survive. The others are stunned too. What? No way. The rest start making a scene. Captain, doesn't this mean our fight was for nothing because of this trip? And we've wasted so many days. You see, even if we didn't get the treasure chest, you still have to pay us. You still owe us months of back pay. Hung Dat yells angrily, veins bulging on his forehead. I can't believe we got played by that brat. He screams, swearing uncontrollably. Meanwhile, in another place, in the King's Valley. Zhang Kai's voice rings out. That's how you get away. And from those people. He stands in the forest and opens his holographic display. The chest with the 3 sharp claws appears on screen. Time to see what's in the treasure chest. As soon as the chest opens, Zhang Kai's eyes light up. The chest flares with blinding light. Inside the chest are countless gems and pearls, and in the center is a cloak. Zhang Kai's eyes gleam. He is overjoyed. Holy crap. I never expected to find this many minerals. And there's gear in here too. Zhang Kai grabs the cloak from the chest. The value of minerals and gear on this ghost planet is worth 10,000 times more than the corpses of those monsters. I'm rich. While grabbing the gear, he notices something mixed in with the gems. It's a gauntlet with a metal ring on the back of the hand. In the center is an emblem of a flaming sword. Another piece of gear. Zhang Kai picks it up and inspects it. He puts it on the gauntlet is brand new. Zhang Kai can't help but be curious. What kind of gear is this gauntlet? Is it an attack type or what? I've got to try it out. A stream of light suddenly envelops him. After putting it on, his body feels much lighter and more energetic. Could this be gear that increases strength and agility? Zhang Kai looks at the empty ground ahead. Let's test the move out. He clenches his fist and 3 claws pop out from the gauntlet. He swings his hand and the claws launch forward like the wind. Suddenly, the claws burst into flames, burning bright as they keep flying. Zhang Kai frowns in thought. There's fire on the throwing knives. Could this be a common fire element support gear for weapons? He recalls the effect of various types of fire on monsters on the ghost planet. There are many types of flames. Special flames can inflict different types of wounds on opponents during battle. He recalls the image of a monster when it was attacked. Moreover, common flames have very low damage and can't be used for fighting. They're only good for cooking. The monster in his mind mocks him. Common fire. Are you scratching my butt? Zhang Kai holds his hand up with a grimace. Is this thing only going to be good for roasting meat from now on? Suddenly, an earth-shattering roar cuts through his thoughts. What's that sound? Following that is the thud of a black ape's hand striking the ground. Then a series of booming sounds rush toward Zhang Kai. System alert, elite grade earth element, black ape ×4, level 18, extremely dangerous. Zhang Kai freezes. 4 elite grade earth element black apes. Zhang Kai jumps backward and curses under his breath. This isn't exactly a good time to test out this gauntlet. He launches the claws forward. Dealing with just one was already a near-death experience, and now there are 4. The claws fly fast, and this time they burn even more intensely than the first time. Zhang Kai aims for the mouth of one that is wide open. He can only focus his attacks on their mouths, just like how he killed the previous one. But the 3 claws haven't even reached the mouth before the black ape bites them and snaps them off. Can't break through the defense, 0 damage. Zhang Kai's eyes widen. Crap! The 4 black apes immediately rush toward him like lightning. Zhang Kai turns and runs for his life. These guys actually know how to close their mouths to block attacks. They roar in anger, chasing him crazily. Furthermore, even if they did open their mouths, the life-taking throwing knives in his hand aren't enough to kill all 4. Zhang Kai worries and thinks, am I going to die here today? Just then, The fire from his claws earlier flares up, burning a patch on a black ape. The remaining black apes are affected similarly. Each flame deals minus 10 HP. Zhang Kai is surprised. He glances at them. Fire! Why isn't it going out? The fire spreads rapidly across the black apes' bodies. They catch fire because of their fur. The eyes of the lead black ape suddenly bulge wide. The fire has now flared up violently. The next second, the fire swallows it whole. System minus 2,000 HP. Amidst the flames comes the sound of screaming. The black ape's eyes roll back. It can no longer escape the sea of fire and can only roar in pain. The flames are larger. The black ape collapses completely. System multiple notifications minus 2,000 HP. The black apes standing behind it are stunned, not daring to advance. Zhang Kai, while running, looks back over his shoulder. He is just as stunned. This massive fire. What the heck is going on? Embers from the massive fire fly with the wind toward the other black apes. The 3 remaining ones quickly catch fire and are engulfed in the sea of flames. The 4 great flames converged, creating a terrifying scene. Zhang Kai stopped running, dropping to one knee as he watched the dark apes. Why were the flames slowly dying out? The sight of the dark apes collapsed on the ground appeared, leaving Zhang Kai in deep shock. They were all dead. A system notification flashed. Extermination. Elite Earth Element Giant Dark Ape ×4. Zhang Kai stood frozen. Wait. I just saw the fire damage jump from 10 to 2,000. How? Elite Earth Element Giant Dark Ape ×4. He couldn't help but wonder, 2,000 isn't that just 200 times 10? Zhang Kai looked down at his shiny gloves. He raised both hands, half confused and half elated. Could it be this glove? Even ordinary flames can trigger my 200-fold critical hit damage, and this type of fire, it even spreads to the rest of the pack. He recalled the apes catching fire and realized that while ordinary fire damage is usually minimal if a monster lacks fire resistance, the damage will silently pierce right through their defenses. Zhang Kai raised his hand as he hovered amidst the sea of fire. 2,000 damage per second will immediately turn into a firestorm. This piece of gear is truly a divine weapon for dealing damage. He smirked, his smile radiating confidence. Now I don't have to worry about failing to pierce their defenses anymore. If that's the case, then I can... The image of the forest engulfed in a sea of flames appeared, and throughout the entire night in King's Valley, explosions rang out alongside. The shrieks of dark apes witnessing the darkest moments of their monkey lives. One by one, the apes were annihilated. They had never seen anyone able to roast them like frogs using nothing but basic fire. Under the brilliant moonlight, the apes fled the sea of fire in a panic. Zhang Kai's voice remained steady, yet not a single one. Saw a health bar hovering above anything. A series of dark apes slumped to the ground, motionless, felled by a master grill master who wouldn't spare a single soul. Zhang Kai walked through the sea of fire, his arms spread wide with flames pouring out incessantly. He laughed loudly. No treasures left behind within 10 miles. The second day at King's Valley, the ground was still smoking in patches. The grass had been completely scorched, leaving only craggy mountains behind. Zhang Kai's wounds had already healed. He felt refreshed. Delicious, he muttered, looking at his electronic panel with joy. He said, one night and I wiped out over 10 dark apes. Finally, I've leveled up. The screen displayed Explorer Zhang Kai Class Gambler Level 7. Attribute Strength. 28 Defense 0 Physique. 32. Critical Hit Rate 0.1%. Agility 48. Critical Damage 20,000%. Spirit Power 48 points. EXP 85 out of 6,400. Zhang Kai examined the gauntlets on his hands. Their shape looked more like a legend. Now the fire damage from these gloves was invincible within the level 20 range because of the splash damage. Zhang Kai looked up at the screen. It now displayed a series of images of the dark apes along with loot chests. Plus I've got 10 elite treasure chests, not to mention a pile of dark ape carcasses, surely. Oh, that'll sell for a lot of money. He suddenly fell into deep thought, his face pensive. Zhang Kai stood alone in the vast grassland, still playing alone. In the ghost realm is a bit lonely. I really miss the days of fighting alongside Jutu and Nuan Nuan. He worried, I don't know what's happening to them now, but they have the military in backing them up. He paused, his voice tinged with loneliness. Whatever path they're on, it's got to be better than mine, right? Somewhere else. In Kings Valley, Ju-Tu had a disgruntled look on his face. He shouted, "Why is there absolutely nothing here? Who killed all the dark apes in Kings Valley, huh?" He slumped to the ground, weeping. He'd been in Kings Valley for days, and hadn't encountered a single dark ape.
How am I supposed to grind like this?
Nuan sighed and replied, "Remember how good it was when Jiang Kai took us out to hunt monsters?" A voice rang out behind them. "Knock it off, Ju-Tu and To Nuan, stop saying such depressing things." It was the player Li Bil class cavalry level 30. 8! He stood with his hands on his hips, his tone stern. "The reason you were able to encounter monsters at the start was because you were in the newbie test area. As for the level you're at now, this is a high-level monster zone." Li Bil frowned and growled. "If Jiang Kai had brought you to Kings Valley, it might have ended disastrously. That's why I specifically took the time to bring you two here to experience it, not to listen to your complaints," he shouted. "Let's go, keep searching for those dark apes." Ju-Tu and Nuan heard this, stood still, and clenched their fists against their chests. They looked spirited enough, but the moment Li Bil walked away, they cried silently in their hearts. "But I still miss Jiang Kai."
Me too.
3 days later, Trong Hai's group was standing before the carcasses of many black monkeys. He spoke up. "It's strange, I've been in Kings Valley for several days, yet I can only find a few of these ordinary black monkeys." He leaned his sword against the ground and grinned triumphantly. "Just a few common dark apes are a piece of cake for us." Van Tui, standing next to him, gave a thumbs up and laughed loudly. "Master Huang Vi ordered us to kill Jiang Kai. What a classic case of using a meat cleaver to kill a chicken." Suddenly a voice spoke up from behind them. "Killing one monster per person? That's really nothing to brag about." Trong Hai jumped and frowned, glancing Ma behind him. Tuan Got, while chewing noisily, said coldly, "A few days ago we even saw a master take out 3 dark apes in one go." Kan Trong agreed. "That's right. The scene back then was truly terrifying." Chuang Hai wasn't very surprised. Instead, he looked contemptuous. "One person killing 3, is that I considered high level or terrifying to you guys?" Tuan Got sat on a cliffside, clicking his tongue, eyes still closed, ignoring them. Chuang Hai raised his hand, and a digital panel appeared with Jiang Kai's image. "Let me ask you, have you ever seen this person in here?" Tuan Got glanced over and instantly recognized the person in the photo. "What a coincidence. That's exactly the master I was talking about, the one who killed 3 dark apes." Cantrong's eyes lit up when he saw Jiang Kai. Super handsome," Luang Quang questioned loudly. "Are you guys blind?" "Look closely. This guy is just a level 5 newbie," Trong Hai sneered. "Exactly. Don't go talking nonsense just because you're jealous of us." Tuan Got tossed the core of the fruit he had been eating onto the ground and turned to leave. "If you don't believe me, go find this master. We just saw him leave Kings Valley. I still need to go pay my respects to that big shot." As soon as Trong Hai heard that, he broke into a sinister grin. "What you mean Jiang Kai is nearby?" He lifted the sword he had just stuck into the ground. All 5 of them moved forward, their eyes. "Bloody hell, speak up. I've been wandering around this dump for days now. It's high time we gave young Master Huang Wei an explanation." Trong Hai kept that savage grin on his face. "Finally, we can finish that brat off." That. Truong looked bored. "Looks like they're itching to settle a score with the great god." Nook Ki also looked listless and helpless. The great god's aura was like a master trying to transcend the mundane world. The arrogance of these people usually marked them as cannon fodder in those comics. Tuan Giat nodded in agreement. True. At that moment, many people were gathering at the exit of Kings Valley. Someone complained, "So unlucky. How come we didn't run into even a single black ape during this Kings Valley trip?" A guy with a scar on his mouth replied, "I heard there was a forest fire that burned everything to ash, so we have to wait for the new spawn before we can go in." The bald guy behind him agreed. Right, at least we all have to wait so we don't have to worry about someone clearing the place out. Just then, the culprit behind the mass extermination walked right past them. Jiang Kai was still cheerful, looking at his digital screen while walking. It took me 3 days to wipe out all those hackers to level up. And to level 10, and I even managed to earn 19 essence chests. First things first, better head back to St. Deity City to sell them for some cash. His screen displayed Adventurer Jiang Kai, Class Gambler. Level 10. Stats, Strength 40. Defense 0. Constitution 44. Crit rate 0.1%. Agility 66. Crit damage 20,000%. Spirit 66. EXP 332 out of 12,800. A loud voice boomed, calling his name. Jiang Kai, stop right there. Jiang Kai looked back, slightly surprised to see who it was. It was Trong Hai's group. They had caught up. Trong Hai pointed at Jiang Kai's face, acting arrogant. You hid for days, making it so hard for us to find you. The crowd around them started whispering. Isn't that the Falcon Squad from the Royal Xuanvu Guild? Why would this kid provoke an elite squad like that? Jiang Kai spoke coldly. The Royal Guild, which Xuanvu Guild? Was it the Royal Guild that sent you here to find me? Trong Hai slowly drew his sword, maintaining his villainous smirk. Still playing dumb? Have you forgotten who you offended during the novice trial? How dare a lowlife like you mess with young Master Huang Wei? The other three drew their weapons ready for combat. We're here to take your life. At this point, Jiang Kai didn't back down. He prepared to fight. He lowered his head, focusing his power. That novice trial, Huang Wei was the one who started it. I was just defending myself. Are you sure you want to mess with me? Trong Hai lunged forward. I don't care who's right or wrong. Hong Nagan also charged in. Trong Hai, you know how much young Master Huang Wei will pay us if we kill this guy. Jiang Kai held up his flame-covered claws and said in a deep voice, Is that so if you're willing to abandon right and wrong for profit? He hurled his pursuit dagger at them. It burned bright, flying lightning fast. Jiang Kai gritted his teeth. Then I don't need to hold back. The pursuit flashed past Trong Hai's group, but they dodged it. Cleanly. Each of them only took a graze of fire. The system displayed minus 10 HP for each player. Trong Hai laughed arrogantly. How ridiculous! Not even a scratch. Is this tiny spark supposed to be your skill? Hong An laughed loudly. I'm really starting to wonder how the young master was killed by a loser like you. The crowd started mocking him. Turns out it's just a normal flame. A move with damage like that is truly embarrassing. And I actually thought it would be powerful. It's nothing more than a lighter for someone's cigarette. Jiang Kai kept his confident expression, giving a small smirk. Ridiculous. My flame damage might be a bit small right now, but what if I make this fire do a little more damage? Trong Hai looked down and saw his armor had caught fire. He was stunned. The next second, the flames erupted violently, swallowing him whole. He screamed in pain. The other three were stunned, sweat pouring down their faces. Fear and confusion filled their expressions. They yelled, Trong Hai, Captain! Trong Hai screamed in despair, just like the black ape, his HP dropping by 2,000 repeatedly. What is this? How can this damage of a normal flame be this high? His companions outside also started catching fire. They were panicked and terrified. Instantly, they were swallowed by the sea of flames just like Trong Hai. The whole group screamed in despair and agony. They yelled, trying to escape, but could not escape. I feel it too. The fire grew larger and stronger. Soon they were nowhere to be seen, the whole area glowing red. The system notification appeared. Adventurer Jiang Kai has eliminated the Falcon Squad. You have claimed the EXP of the entire squad. Min Heen and the crowd, Yan watched in shock. What is happening? Trong Hai collapsed in the fire. Jiang Kai walked over as the flames began to die down. All right, if... We're so desperate to offer your heads to me. He smiled, looking down at Trong Hai, who had been arrogant moments ago but was now slumped at his feet. Then I'll gladly accept this filial offering. The surrounding crowd immediately erupted. What the hell is this? That kid actually wiped out the whole Falcon Squad. That's a level 20 elite group. If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes burning a whole squad with a normal fire, I would have thought this was staged. They were so shocked they couldn't stop cursing. Who the hell is this kid? Jiang Kai calmly retrieved the pursuit dagger he had thrown earlier and began harvesting the EXP. One guy tried to find information about Jiang Kai via his digital screen. Why can't my watch evaluate his stats level 12? Stats exceed evaluation limits. Evaluation failed. Others were stunned. No way. How is that possible? The guy checking the info opened his eyes wide, sweat pouring down his forehead. He stuttered, I know now. Could he be a great god fire mage who uses items to hide his stats from others? The others gathered around. A master fire mage. Yes, that must be it. He is the fire god, Jiang Kai. Meanwhile, Jiang Kai remained calm. Nice leveled up twice, adventurer Jiang Kai. Class gambler, level 12. Stats, strength 48, constitution 52, agility 78, spirit 78, defense 0, crit rate 0.1%, crit, damage 20,000%, EXP 1,716 out of 12,800. He looked up and asked gently, Ibrin, by the way, why can't they see my stats? Ibrin looked at him, her voice sounding gentle. Because your gambler dual class has too many bonus stats, making your attributes vastly different from others of your level. With the items making it impossible for outsiders to judge their wealth by their watches, Jiang Kai cast a cold glance over his shoulder. Why did he just turn and walk away, leaving them staring in shock? Well, it's good that they couldn't figure it out. It keeps unwanted attention away in this trading hub. Walking into the shop, Jiang Kai said, Hello, I'd like to sell some things. The elegant clerk slumped over the desk was still dozy. Welcome, valued guest. To the trade counter, she mumbled. Jiang Kai sighed to himself. Is this the only customer all day? Productivity really is at an all-time low, huh? Even so, he smiled. All right, I've got plenty of loot. Could you calculate the price for me? As Thanya raised her head with a bored look, she muttered, Someone as broke as you. How much could you possibly have? I'd bet at most. Suddenly, her eyes widened in shock. A series of images of the black warriors that Jiang Kai had taken down appeared. Look here, I've got over a dozen sets of remains from those power-type black warriors. Thanya was so shocked she jumped to her feet. Jiang Kai chuckled and raised his hand. Besides that, with a wave, a flood of projections appeared. I also have 19 elite crystals here. Jiang Kai poked his head through the images. Sorry, can you still see me? I wanted to ask how much can all of this sell for in total? Thanya leaned in, staring at the items without blinking. Is this guy from a major hunting corporation or something? Others sell them one by one? How could he possibly be selling them by the basket load? Then she shook her head to regain her composure. Thanya slapped the desk, her excitement a complete turnaround from earlier. Sir, don't worry. It just so happens I'm the top broker here for today. Leave the calculations to me, she thought to herself. Turns out he's a big spender. Even if I have to risk my life, I've got to close this deal. That'll do. Jiang Kai smiled. Then I'll leave it to you. A string of numbers appeared on her handheld calculator, 180,000. Thanya, while flipping through piles of paperwork, couldn't help but be amazed. This big shot. The remains you have here can be sold for 10,000 credits, and the elite crystals along with the other items can go for 170,000 credits. She paused, clearing her throat. So in total, you're selling them for 180,000 ghost essence credits. Jiang Kai's eyes lit up. He couldn't believe it when he heard the massive figure of 180,000 ghost essence credits. Jiang Kai thought as he calculated in his head, 10,000 ghost essence credits is equal to 100,000 saint essence credits. Ghost essence credits are the currency of Ghost Spirit World. 1 ghost essence credit can be exchanged for 10 saint essence credits. That means the value this time reaches 1,800,000. This amount of money is enough for my brother's medical expenses. Walking down the street with his hands in his pockets, he closed his eyes, looking truly content. Now the bet with the commander to take good care of his older brother had been fulfilled. I don't need to enlist anymore. This time I can go back to Earth and arrange for my brother's hospitalization. Suddenly a voice called out behind him. Wait, I'm Honan, the fortune teller from last time? Jiang Kai turned his head. He saw Honan running toward him, panting heavily. Last time I advised you to go to the King's Valley, didn't I? You must have harvested a lot, and you even managed to kill those who didn't know how to. Be polite, right? Jiang Kai immediately recognized her and smiled. Going to the King's Valley was indeed a huge help to me. Thank you so much. Honan held up a finger in front of his face. Then can you grant me a small request, please? Without a second's hesitation, Jiang Kai agreed immediately. Sure, you've helped me so much after all, just tell me what it is. Honan hesitated. That is... Her face flushed red and her forehead was beaded with sweat. She pointed at herself and forced a smile. It's me. Honan wants to join your team. I hope you'll let me fight side by side with you from today on, can you? Jiang Kai immediately turned his back, his expression turning cold as he rejected her. Honan was surprised to be turned down so quickly. Why are you leaving? Are you always this blunt? Honan's eyes filled with sadness and she sighed. Just as I expected, still the same as before. A person considered trash by the military? How could anyone... Honan's voice drifted off as she walked away. I know you like free stuff, right? Do you want my equipment? I'm giving it to you. It's the last time I'm logging into the ghost spirit world anyway. Jiang Kai stopped in his tracks. He turned to look at Honan confused. The last time? Why are you a fellow pauper? You're planning on going offline forever. Why don't you want to keep earning money in the ghost spirit world anymore? Honan avoided his gaze, her voice sorrowful but her lips still smiled. I want to, but I can't. After all, what team would want a useless person who only knows how to tell fortunes in battle? She paused for a moment and sighed again. When the military determined that Feng Shui masters were a very powerful profession, I leveraged the military's support for them, and I successfully reached level 20, then switched to the fortune teller class, Honan explained gently. However, the innate talent of a Feng Shui master is only the ability to sense time, places, and people better. After switching to fortune teller, I only gained an extra fortune-telling skill. She recalled the scene of herself and other fortune tellers being escorted out by soldiers. After that, the military abandoned us once they discovered fortune tellers lacked combat skills. They threw us away because we were too weak and no one was willing to team up with us, so our levels have basically stood still since then. Honan remembered the scene of sitting alone at her fortune-telling stall with no one to lead her to hunt monsters. Every day I just struggled to survive in the ghost spirit world. If I returned to Earth to work as a garbage picker or a laborer... Honan paused, the image of her carrying a sack appearing in her mind. Her voice felt heavy. At least it's better than sitting around doing nothing. Jiang Kai heard this and felt a pang of pity. That's so hard. My brother's body was like that because of exhaustion. You're just a frail girl. How could you possibly endure that? In response, Honan only smiled gently. If I can't, what other choice do I have? Honan flashed a bright smile. Back on Earth, I still have a younger brother and sister. At home, I'm the breadwinner, so even if I can't bear it, I have to. Hidden behind that smile was an indescribable sadness. Her smile unexpectedly made Jiang Kai think of his eldest brother. It's okay, the eldest brother can endure it. Her situation startled him, making him pause, because it was so similar to his own. Jiang Kai recalled when he was young. His brother was just like this. Originally, his brother wanted to develop in the ghost spirit world, aspiring to one day defeat the beast gods. He choked up. But after he managed to feed me and my sister, he was afraid there would be no one to take care of us, so he gave up the chance to come to the ghost spirit world, leading to his body becoming frail. Honan's voice cut through his thoughts. She turned around. All right, do you want my equipment if... You do wait there. I'm heading to this spot. Take this. Besides, this is before I go back to the real world and never return here again. Bye-bye, Jiang Kai called out. Wait, let's leave it for next time, Honan. Slightly surprised, Jiang Kai turned around before leaving and looked at her with a serious expression. I'm Jiang Kai and I have to log off now, but it won't be long. Next time I'm online, you can look for me. We'll become a team. Honan blushed. Yang Yang was so moved that her legs were trembling uncontrollably and her voice stuttered. Really? Jiang Kai turned and walked away, waving his hand. Really, if I lie to you, I'll be broke for the rest of my life. Hunan raised her hand to wipe away her tears, her voice choked with emotion.
Someone as stingy as you who only cares about money, if you dared to say this, then it must be true.
She ran over quickly and hugged Jiang Kai tightly from behind, shouting, "Thank you, you really are a good person." Jiang Kai, taken by surprise, choked on his own saliva. "How do you expect me to survive if you do that?"
I can handle it,
Hunan said, ignoring Jiang Kai's attempt to push her away, wanting to hug him more.
Yes, you can.
On Earth, in the slums where Jiang Kai lived, he had just arrived home and called out loudly, "Big brother, third sister from today!"
You two don't have to go to work anymore.
I've earned some money. The three of them sat around a round table. Jiang Kai crossed his arms confidently. Big brother looked slightly surprised. Really? Elder sister rested her chin on her hand, pointing at him skeptically. Where did you earn this money? Is it legal? Jiang Kai glanced at his little sister.
What are you saying, kid? I earned it.
On the Ghost Star. Tomorrow I'll go make arrangements for Big Brother to have his surgery. You also go back to school and focus on your studies, okay? Big Brother felt a bit reluctant. Little Jiang Kai, you've really had a hard time lately. Jiang Kai scratched his head, looking embarrassed. It's nothing, brother. Compared to how hard you've worked taking care of us, this is nothing. Jiang Kai looked at the photo of the three of them together, his voice deepening. Big brother, just rest easy. In the past, you were always the one working hard, but now that I have the ability, I am determined to let everyone live a good life. The three of them cheered and raised their glasses, clinking them together. They said in unison, "To our loving family, cheers." Cheers. As Jiang Kai was drinking, his phone rang. He glanced at it. An unknown number was calling. He answered, and it was Wei Ying's voice. He was standing on a smoke-filled battlefield. Jiang Kai, you won the bet. Do you have time right now? His voice was low. Wait for a moment, I'll send someone to pick you up to go see the item. Remember, you have to come. Jiang Kai immediately recognized him. Commander Wei. A while later, he had arrived at the God-Beast battlefield in the area outside the Sacred Glory Nation's safe zone, a place where skyscrapers had turned into ruins. A voice echoed. Right here. Jiang Kai was led by two soldiers. He looked around. It's been so many years. The city where I lived when I was young has now become like this. Suddenly, the leading soldier stopped. Jiang Kai looked up ahead. In front of him was a man with white hair, his coat fluttering in the wind. Commander Wei, I don't know why you called me here. A furious roar rang out, shaking the very ground. Jiang Kai gasped, startled by the massive noise. The burning buildings in front of him were collapsing into a sea of flames. A gigantic monster appeared. On its back were three figures darting through the air like lightning. They were fighting the black ape. Jiang Kai was stunned. That's transcendent. Beings on the God-Beast battlefield. He was shocked by the scene before him. Currently, for those exploring the Ghost Star, reaching level 20 is a turning point. It is divided into 6 stages in total. Among them, even though there are explorers from level 1 to 80 who can become more powerful after changing their professions, their strength can only be used on the Ghost Star. Just as he finished speaking, the three people in front began to move. But for transcendent beings, it's different because when an explorer steps into the stage from level 81 to 120 to become a transcendent, they need a qualitative change. The three of them held their weapons and charged straight at the roaring monster. The black ape didn't let them attack first. It raised its head and opened its mouth. A beam of light appeared. It was preparing to unleash a move. Jiang Kai's voice remained steady. At that point, the power that could originally only be used on the Ghost Star. The leader in front quickly held up a shield, completely blocking the attack. They frowned extremely tense as they faced the giant monster. Can actually be brought back and used on Earth. The three of them flew into the air using every ounce of their strength. They didn't yield, charging to fight once more. The appearance of this supernatural power is not only a huge change in human military history, but also a challenge for humanity today in the war against the God-Beasts. Jiang Kai's voice became more excited. It is the most effective tactic. At the same time, the combined attack of the three successfully pierced through the monster's skin. Zhang Kai jumped forward, cheering loudly. They killed it! That was so powerful. Wei Ying, standing next to him, continued to smoke calmly. Powerful. You don't know this is just an ordinary god beast, however, to be able to deal with that guy, he said with a contemplative expression. We've already lost 2 transcendent beings. Zhang Kai was surprised by this statement. His eyes widened. Wei Ying continued in a low voice. Zhang Kai, today, humanity has fallen into a very bad situation. Don't stay in the safe zone for so long that you forget about this danger. You won this bet. I won't force you to join the army. Lightning flashed in the sky and clouds gathered, turning the sky gray. Wei Ying closed his eyes and took a leisurely puff of his cigarette. As for the royal family, I will step in and warn those people not to touch you. He saw the surprise on Zhang Kai's face, then bared his teeth in a faint smile. Must be strange why I value you so much, right? Wei Ying paused for a moment, his voice firm and confident. Because I am someone who always trusts my intuition. Rain had started to fall. A few raindrops drifted onto Zhang Kai's face. He listened intently to every word without blinking. Wei Ying slowly continued. My intuition tells me that you can become a powerhouse, and in the future you might become so strong that all of sacred glory will need your help. The rain at this moment gradually became heavier. The sound of rain pattering against the ground echoed through the space. The 3 people from before stood in the rain where the black ape had been defeated, the sound of rain mixing with the deep voice of Wei Ying. But I know that in this world, you just want to protect your family. If you join the army, you'll have to go to the battlefield, and the battlefield is truly very dangerous. Wei Ying raised his cigarette and took another puff. But when the country is in peril, every citizen is responsible. This world needs people to step up and fight against these monsters. Wei Ying flicked his still-burning cigarette away, his voice flat. One day I'll die on the battlefield too, but I'll die as a servant of the Holy Saint. He turned to look at Zhang Kai, his eyes narrowing. If I have to die for this country, for all of you, then I'll do it willingly. A bolt of lightning crashed down onto the ground behind Zhang Kai. He stood there, stunned. Zhang Kai, I'm not forcing you to choose, but if in the future Saint Dieu faces danger... I hope that when you're strong enough, Wei Ying said, lowering his voice, you'll fight for Saint Dieu, okay? A few days later, after resting on Earth, Zhang Kai returned to Ghost Planet. At Saint Dieu City, Zhang Kai couldn't stop thinking about Wei Ying's words. I never expected the commander to think so highly of me. Could it be that I'm actually someone Saint Dieu will need in the future? He sighed and tapped his watch. Forget it. I need to look after myself first. The Black Apes at King's Valley must have been replaced by a new batch by now, right? The screen displayed the image of a ghost banshee, an elite-level monster with extremely high, lethal damage, capable of one-shotting adventurers. Its attacks also had a sound breach effect, which was deadly against the banshee's own kind. Another line of text appeared, sound breach. The banshee's shriek can render adventurers within a 10-meter radius unable to move, causing extreme fear. Only attacks launched from within that 10-meter range can deal damage to the banshee. Zhang Kai muttered the information to himself, staring at the monster on the screen. What a terrifying monster. Within 10 meters, you get hit by the sound breach and get one shot but outside. 10 meters, you can't deal any damage at all. He turned off the screen, squeezed his eyes shut, and hardened his resolve. Zhang Kai shoved his hands in his pockets and walked forward confidently. This monster seems even more troublesome than the Black Apes. I'm going to need some teammates. In the distance, Hu Nian was dozing off in the middle of the road holding a sign that read, "Don't disturb me, I'm waiting for the captain." She was still talking in her sleep. Captain. Captain. Passers-by gave her judging looks, wondering if she was crazy. Zhang Kai appeared behind her with a helpless, pained expression. Hu Nian, it's not like you had to stand here waiting for me the entire time I was offline. Hu Nian woke up instantly. She turned to look at him, her eyes welling up as she rambled, Zhang Kai. Captain, I just knew you'd come back. I've been waiting here for days. Zhang Kai smiled. I know. Hu Nian suddenly squinted, looking mysterious. She covered her mouth and whispered, Zhang Kai, Captain, you're looking to go monster hunting, aren't you? I'll help you find a really useful teammate. I've already scouted someone who's great for hunting. What do you think? Do you want him? Jiang Kai heard this and was overjoyed. Someone who's great for hunting, really. That sounds perfect as long as it's not a total drunkard. A chubby guy immediately stood in front of them, scratching his head as he introduced himself. Hi, I'm Nguyen Gu. I'm a total drunkard. There were bottles of liquor strapped all around his waist. Jiang Kai immediately bolted running as he yelled, I don't need him. Hunian forced a smile. Jiang Kai. Captain, aren't you being a bit too honest? Nguyen Gu looked confused. Hunian shouted after the fleeing Jiang Kai. Captain, just take Nguyen Gu with you. He's used to hardship and he's very obedient. Nguyen Gu awkwardly bowed his head, poking his fingers together. Hunian wouldn't give up chasing after Jiang Kai. Nguyen Gu will cook for you, give you massages, and even... He said that as long as you take him with you, Jiang Kai's face was as dark as soot. He's willing to take 0 loot after joining. Hearing that, Jiang Kai's eyes went wide with shock. He rushed back toward Nguyen Gu, reaching out. Jiang Kai grabbed Nguyen Gu's hand, his eyes sparkling with delight. Welcome, Comrade Nguyen Gu, I'm Captain Jiang Kai. The moment I saw you, I knew you were a genius. From now on, you're officially a member of our team. Jiang Kai laughed loudly. Hands on his hips, he pointed to the sky, brimming with excitement. Today, Captain is leading you all to hunt the ghost banshee from today on. We're a family, let's go. Nguyen Gu looked blankly at Hu Nian, stuttering, Captain, are we a little... Jiang Kai kept shouting, VR family. Hu Nian felt helpless at his mood swing. Yeah, it's not family, it's just that you're free. And that's why the captain is like that. Night had already fallen, the clear moonlight illuminating the trees and mountains. Deep in the woods stood a dilapidated wooden house covered in a layer of eerie mist. That was King's Valley, the elite territory of the ghost banshee. From inside the wooden house came a ghostly moaning sound. A hand with sharp claws was casting a spell. It was the elite-level ghost banshee level 20. She was gaunt, wearing a tattered white dress, and letting out bone-chilling cries. From the cliff above, a figure appeared observing the banshee. It was Jiang Kai. He whispered, Everyone, this banshee is 10 times stronger than the black ape. If we get exposed, we'll get one shot. We have to be really quiet. He didn't take his eyes off the banshee as he whispered and observed her movements. Also remember, only attacks within 10 meters can damage her. So we have to be extremely careful and find an opportunity to get close. Hu Nian was a bit scared. A stuttering, drawn-out voice echoed, Captain? Jiang Kai hissed, Hu Nian. Keep it down. Hu Nian looked dazed, pointing at herself, wondering why. Jiang Kai reminded her again, but the sound continued, accompanied by moaning. Captain! Jiang Kai didn't turn his head, snapping, Hu Nian, be quiet! Hu Nian hurriedly waved her hands. Captain, I didn't say anything. The moaning continued. Captain! Jiang Kai lost his patience and turned around. If it wasn't her, then who was moaning? It was Nguyen Gu sprawled out, on a tree branch surrounded by empty bottles, holding another one while snoring like thunder. Captain, look what I found. Nguyen Gu, already drunk, yelled out, excitedly at the top of his lungs. Thank you, Captain, let me toast you. Jiang Kai and Hu Nian gritted their teeth. The banshee heard the noise and turned, around instantly flying high into the air and spotting the 3 of them. Jiang Kai was startled by her incredible speed. The banshee shrieked, a beam of light appearing in her mouth. Her eyes glowed red, and 4 sharp fangs appeared. Jiang Kai was terrified the moment he saw it and screamed, Nguyen Gu, what are you doing? Hu Nian, didn't you say he'd be useful? Hu Nian, standing next to him, was pale as a sheet. I was just saying that off the cuff. Jiang Kai was deeply shocked. We're finished. The banshee let out a massive shriek. Sound breach! The air seemed to tear apart. The terrifying force felt like it would blow all 3 of them away. An invisible force struck them directly. Jiang Kai and Hu Nian quickly realized something was wrong. Nguyen Gu was still asleep, drooling. Jiang Kai's face turned black. The system flashed an alert, abnormal status detected. Banshee sound breach status initiated. Even more terrifying than it was at first, Jiang Kai and Honan were frozen solid. It's truly horrifying. This she-demon is incredibly strong. I'm completely paralyzed. Captain, we don't stand a chance. We might as well just wait for our deaths. The demon stretched out her hand to grab them both. her mouth opening wide when suddenly an excited voice rang out. Nguyen Gu lunged forward, his face flushed red, tongue lolling out. "Why is there such a beauty here? Why is there such a beauty here, may I ask? Are you looking for me?" He dashed from the tree branch. Jiang Kai and Honyan stared in shock as Nguyen Gu hugged the she-demon. With such massive force, he sent her flying backward. He laughed boisterously, looking at the she-demon on the ground. "It must be fate that brought me to meet a beautiful lady like you. Let me show you some love." Nguyen Gu reached out to caress the demon's face, praising her, "This skin. Why is it so smooth?" The she-demon's eyes darkened. She gasped in disbelief at what just happened. Honan moved her hand slightly. "I can move now." The system notified that the mind-breaking spell had been dispelled. Jiang Kai also jumped up. What just happened? Why is the she-demon being held down by Nguyen Gu? "I see." Jiang Kai quickly regained his composure, clenching his fists as the life-chasing needles appeared. "This she-demon's spell must have a cooldown. We have to seize this chance to attack her before she uses her second move." He quickly fired the needles forward. "Must finish this quickly." The needles hit their target accurately and rapidly. The she-demon burst into flames. Nguyen Gu was still sitting on top of her, pouting. "Lady, let me teach you a French kiss." The demon herself couldn't understand the situation. What kind of freak is this? Nguyen Gu's kiss was about to reach her. She struggled, unable to do anything. "From now on, you're my old lady." But then the fire from Jiang Kai's life-chasing needles flared up violently, swallowing her whole. After a moment, the fire died down, leaving only black smoke. Nguyen Gu escaped the fire looking confused. "My old lady." "Where did she go?" Jiang Kai clenched both fists and grinned. "Perfect. We got her." A notification appeared. Elite Ghost She-Demon level X1 eliminated. Honan's eyes sparkled with admiration. "Captain, you actually one-shot an elite She-Demon." Nguyen Gu collapsed to his knees. Full of helplessness and sadness, his voice choked with sobs. "You bastards! You blew up my old lady?" Nguyen Gu looked up, his face covered in tears and snot. "That was the only love of my life. Losing her, I can't love anyone else in this lifetime." Nguyen Gu looked up at the sky, wailing for his dead wife. Jiang Kai whispered to Honyan, taking the opportunity to ask, "Is Nguyen Gu usually like this? Does he often get crazy drunk?" Honan smiled awkwardly. "Exactly. Nguyen Gu is a total lush. He can't resist alcohol. When he's drunk, he acts like an idiot." Having said that, she ran toward the wooden cabin, excitedly shouting, "Captain, let me go get the treasure chests and the elite she-demon's remains for you first." Jiang Kai nodded. He thought to himself, right just now Nguyen Gu was clearly hit by the she-demon's spell, right? Jiang Kai recalled Nguyen Gu's drunken out-of-it state. But why? Was he completely unaffected? Furthermore, he was able to counterattack the she-demon. The image of Nguyen Gu hugging the she-demon and sending her flying backward kept spinning in Jiang Kai's head. Jiang Kai watched Nguyen Gu crying while chugging alcohol. The thing alcoholics hate most is losing consciousness while drunk, but who would have thought that this seemingly fatal flaw could accidentally break the she-demon's spell? Jiang Kai suddenly smirked. Then Honyan, who had retrieved the chest, turned back. She looked up at Jiang Kai, only to see him wearing a crafty smile. His eyes narrowed. He looked incredibly lecherous. "Isn't Nguyen Gu a natural-born divine artifact specialized in countering the she-demon's spell?" Honan was so scared she froze in her tracks. Why is he smiling so sinisterly all of a sudden, just when everyone thought it was over? At another she-demon's hut, a demon was growling in anger. She looked exactly like the previous one. Suddenly, footsteps echoed. She felt someone nearby and whipped around. Before she could react, Jiang Kai and Honan lunged forward. "It's your turn, keep going, Nguyen Gu." Up ahead, Nguyen Gu was sticking out his tongue, laughing heartily. "Another beauty to find." The she-demon let out a shrill, ear-piercing scream, a mind-breaking attack. But that move was completely useless against Nguyen Gu. Hearts appeared in his eyes. "Beautiful lady, why are you drooling when you see me? Are you craving my body? Is that it?" Once again, Nguyen Gu lunged forward, lunged. hugging the she-demon, leaving her shocked and choking. What a coincidence, I want you to. Jiang Kai was behind him in a ready stance. Nice this skill, and was broken again so we can get close and attack. Nguyen Ngu pinned the she-demon down, humming. Come on, baby, meeting you, I know love again, let's light up, and... The little fire of love tonight! Jiang Kai fired a volley of life-chasing needles toward the she-demon. Confused by Nguyen Ngu's actions, the she-demon's guard was down, making her an easy target. Just like last time, the fire flared up violently. The she-demon cried out in pain. The electronic screen displayed, Adventurer Jiang Kai has eliminated Elite Ghost She-Demon level X1. Nguyen Ngu, untouched by the needles, was flung into the air by the flames. He opened his eyes, dazed, realizing the situation while floating in the air. He started cursing, You bastards! You blew up my old lady again! I curse you, you bunch of animals! He landed on his head, tears and snot, streaming down. Jiang Kai looked at him confidently. Good job. While Nguyen Ngu is still out of it, let's hurry and find another she-demon. Honan agreed. For the next 3 hours, Nguyen Ngu was once again blown into the air by flames. As he flew, he yelled, Don't blow up my 11th wife! A while later, he sat there crying miserably at the door. My 23rd wife was blown up by these two bastards. Jiang Kai and Honyan were inside the house, eyes gleaming as they opened the chest. Nguyen Ngu kept sobbing, reaching out to stop Jiang Kai. No, please spare my 35th wife. Another chest was taken out of the she-demon's wooden cabin. It was shiny and heavy. Jiang Kai laughed loudly, hands on his hips. Amazing, I never thought that thanks to Nguyen Ngu, we'd catch 35 elite she-demons in no time at all. We've wiped out all the she-demons in the King's Valley. Honan covered her face. I wouldn't even dare to dream of this efficiency. Jiang Kai glanced at the electronic screen and said happily, Moreover, after killing 35 elite she-demons, I leveled up twice, reaching level 14. Jiang Kai turned to look at Nguyen Ngu then, winked. And the price paid is just one heartbroken Nguyen Ngu. Honyan, you calculate, is Nguyen Ngu useful or not? Honyan grinned. Exactly. Besides, we're basically helping Nguyen Ngu build up his mental resilience after being dumped by his girlfriend. Nguyen Ngu was already sobbing. My eyes are swollen. Mental resilience. You two are truly heartless devils. Honan gave a thumbs up right in front of him. Nguyen Ngu, you're that guy. That, he retorted bluntly. You're a beast. Jiang Kai watched them, and it was even more than that. He held up 2 shimmering cards he had also collected. 2 skill cards from the female demon's den. We can learn one more skill. The first card had an image of a dark cloud and rain. The first skill is the rain-making technique used by those with a strong mental capacity to create a massive wide-area downpour. Jiang Kai imagined the scene calling down rain to create a pond, drowning and washing away monsters. When the terrain is right, high-level experts can even create lakes and rivers out of thin air. This can create miracles in actual combat. He held the card out toward Honyan. Honyan, your mental power is level 29 higher than mine. You can learn this skill. She was a bit surprised. A skill card. Really? Honan's eyes welled. Up with tears, her voice trembling. Thank you, Captain Jiang Kai. I finally have a skill other than fortune-telling. I'm no longer just a piece of trash who only knows how to predict the future when fighting. She knelt down and bowed, repeatedly, to Jiang Kai. Captain Jiang Kai, from now on, you will forever be my big brother. Please accept this bow from your little subordinate. Jiang Kai felt helpless. Don't do that, you deserve it. Honan hit her head, until it had a huge bump before stopping. She held the card, admiring it happily. I'm not trash anymore. Jiang Kai held the remaining card, lost in thought. The other skill is a one-time skill point for hidden professions. He looked at the card and the information immediately popped up. This skill point, when used, can activate an additional skill of the hidden profession, but the additional skill can only be used once before it disappears. After reading, he thought to himself, Is that so? Well then activate it. The card in his hand immediately lit up. Jiang Kai looked at the shining card in his hand. Although it's only for one-time use, if it's a skill that only a hidden profession can activate, I definitely have to try. iBrain appeared. The light from the card enveloped him. Congratulations, professional hidden gambler. Additional skill-activated casino pickpocket. The image on the card was a skeletal hand controlling 2 dice, with magic. When the casino pickpocket feature is enabled, all explorers around the target gambler will have 1,000th of their total attributes stolen and added to the user's own. After 30 minutes, the additional skills and attributes will be wiped. Zhang Kai frowned, disappointed. Is that all the skill does? iBrain replied gently. That is correct. Zhang Kai clutched his head in anger. A one-time skill so precious, yet it can only steal 1,000th of someone else's total attributes. He collapsed onto the ground, looking gloomy. I currently only have a total of over 200 attributes. Stealing 0.2 is useless. Nguyen Gu by now sober sat up and asked, what happened to me? Did I fall asleep? He looked bewildered, placing a hand on his chest. Why do I feel so heartbroken? Honan walked over to his side and whispered, The King of Heartbreak has forgotten you already last night. You were heartbroken and lost 35 wives. Nguyen Gu suddenly remembered. He stuck his tongue out with a satisfied look, flying over to hug someone else. Nguyen Gu immediately threw up his guts, in disgust. I remember now last night after I finished puking, I was crying and apologizing. Captain Zhang Kai, I've held you back. I'm a drunkard, I can't stop. A drinking? If you're not satisfied with me, I can leave the team. Zhang Kai said nothing, grabbing a piece of equipment and handing it to Nguyen Gu. He looked at Nguyen Gu, offered a gentle smile, and said, What are you talking about? Last night you were the biggest hero. This equipment belongs to you. Nguyen Gu looked at the person in front of him. Zhang Kai continued, If it weren't for you, I don't know how many times I would have been killed by the female demon. You are the core of this journey. Nguyen Gu teared up, touched his face, blushing with embarrassment. No, Captain Zhang Kai, I don't need it. I already said just being able to let me on the team is enough. Zhang Kai waved his hand. I've also said I wouldn't treat my teammates poorly. Besides, there's a portion for Honan, too. Hearing that, Honan snapped around. At that moment, the image Honan saw. In her eyes was Zhang Kai as Prince Charming with a rose in his mouth and throwing money around. He said gently, Honan, come and get your equipment too. The eyes of Honan and Nguyen Gu both lit up. Brilliantly. Is this for real? Both of them knelt down before Zhang Kai and shouted, Captain Zhang Kai, from now on we follow you. In life we are your people. In death, we are your ghosts. Following you. Zhang Kai was both shocked and helpless, stopping them. After that, the three of them tidied up and returned to the Ghost Essence item trading post. A graceful voice rang out. The big boss is back again. Unlike the first time, she greeted Zhang Kai extremely enthusiastically. It's truly shocking. Today the total sales price of your monsters and treasure chests has reached 840,000 Ghost Essence coins. Zhang Kai was overjoyed. That's great. So, doesn't that equal 8,400,000 holy wine currency like this? The future living expenses for Big Brother and Brother 2 are completely covered, aren't they? Zhang Kai stepped into the trading post's changing room. He mused, Besides, Bai, now I not only have enough for living expenses after selling the loot, but I still have 2 pieces of equipment that fit me perfectly. He immediately changed into new gear. One piece was the Dark Shadow trousers paired with the Dark Shadow cloak from before, which has a stealth effect preventing him from being detected. Dark Shadow trousers, F-tier quality effect, increases agility by 11 points, strength by 6 points, improves defense by 3 points, and allows entry into an invisible state for 3 minutes at night. Zhang Kai threw on a high collar coat that hid his waist. The second piece was the Ghost Armor, which can turn ethereal at critical moments and is used to avoid lethal attacks. Ghost Armor, A-tier quality effect, increases agility by 24 points, strength by 8, to points, constitution by 9 points, and mental power by 14 points. Every 10 minutes he can trigger etherealization, becoming immune to 1 physical attack. Zhang Kai held up his hand to admire it closely. The effect of the gloves has also been verified. The flames on these gloves can indeed be stacked onto my critical wounds. Simply put, this is my ultimate weapon. Burning Destruction Gloves, F-tier quality effect, increases agility by 7 points, strength by 6 points. allows weapons to be imbued with normal flames, and adds effects to the fiery range. The flames will accompany the user's weapon capable of bursting with damage points, and critical damage for the weapon. Jiang Kai confidently stepped outside and pulled back the curtain. Now I feel much stronger than before. Right now, even if I fight against explorers, level 20 or higher, I can... He stepped outside, his aura full of confidence. The information board displayed Explorer Jiang Kai Profession Gambler level. 14. Attributes: Strength 76, Defense 3, Constitution 69, Critical Rate 0.1%, Agility 132, Critical Damage. Mental Strength 20,000%, Ability 104. Jiang Kai clenches his fists, still confident in victory. Nguyen Ngu comes running from afar, carrying a piece of wood on his shoulder. He raises his left hand. Pursuer Captain, you're here. I helped you upgrade the Pursuer a little bit. Jiang Kai turns around. Nguyen Ngu. Nguyen Ngu is panting heavily, unable to catch his breath. Wait for me! Without hesitation, he hurls the spear forward to show Jiang Kai how it works. Jiang Kai throws his hands up in a panic. Nguyen Ngu, what are you doing? Are you still holding a grudge because I burned your 35 wives? Is that it? The Pursuer zooms toward Jiang Kai's face, stopping just centimeters from his eyes. Nguyen Ngu tosses this piece of wood high into the air and screams, "Come back!" The Pursuer immediately pivots and whistles through the air toward Nguyen Ngu. The wood is sliced clean in two. Nguyen Ngu catches the incoming spear. He offers it to Jiang Kai with both hands, saying softly, "Boss Jiang Kai, I noticed you're always having to pick up your Pursuer weapons during battle. That's a real pain, so I added some magnets to them." He explains kindly. Now once you throw it, you can just use the magnets to pull it right back. Jiang Kai is instantly hyped. Really? That means I don't have to worry about how many Pursuers I have left, right? I guess I don't have to worry about how many life-chasing points I have left anymore, do I?